everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Polish Agnes. Hopefully, you know who I am. If you don't, today you're gonna find out. I must apologize. My voice is a little bit disappearing because I don't know if you know this, but Polish people cannot have cold drinks or we cannot have drinks with ice. And this is what I have been drinking in this crazy heat today and the last few days, and so I can feel it now. And it's just the nature of someone who just doesn't ever drink anything straight out of the fridge. That's me. I'm Polish. Forgive me. But today, you guys, we are going to focus on political stuff as usual because we really don't have the time to no longer do fun stuff. And I don't really consider politics to be fun. So hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I am late, extremely late today, but forgive me, please. There is a huge storm right now outside my window. I'm in New Britain, Connecticut, and my internet was going in and out, and so is my AC because the electric isn't really being delivered sometimes when you have the storm. And so, with that being said, I had issues, big issues, to be able to start the stream. I hope we are going to be fine, and I hope I can produce this today just because I am working two jobs, guys, two full-time jobs, and I apologize that I am no longer to be found anywhere on any events or anywhere in particular. I do spend some time sometimes, and I do hold on one second. There's people that want something from me. I don't know. My internet is still buffering. I just really hope that you guys can hear me. All right. Anyway, it's just crazy with time. But it's a crunch time for me. Just because I need to pay some debt that I have. So politics kind of went a little bit on the back burner for me. And that's just what it is. And so today we are picking up a little bit of what's going on in Connecticut because now we're focused on Connecticut. It's just so funny that I really took around. I took a look around all the streamers. Yes, I know. I sound low for some reason. I really don't know why. It's perhaps because my AC is running. I don't know, this computer is freaking strange, guys. I don't know, sometimes it just really gives you a lot of volume, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm going to try to microphone settings. Okay, let me know if this is better or not. I already have 21 people here, so welcome to the channel. Welcome in YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. I have 6 platforms. I'm on Kick, I'm on Twitch, I'm on Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, and X. And so hopefully you can hear me better. I'm sorry, I apologize. As you can see, I'm trying here. I'm trying. I really am trying. But what I want to focus today is kind of the primary on August 11, which this primary was really not needed primary that we really needed to have, to be honest with you. That's my personal take on it. And but hey, there are people that are eager to get into Congress, and we need to honor this. And if you are a Republican, August 11 is the day for you, because on August 11 you are going to hold hold on one second. You are going to pick your candidate that is going to go against Johanna Hayes. And Johanna Hayes is a Democratic pick, let's say. She's been in Congress for, I think, either 7 or 8 years. And to be quite honest, me personally, being conservative, I really don't think she is doing a good job. And I think District 5 is the most flippable district that we have this election. This is just my own intake on the political views today. Hopefully, we are going to flip. We are going to flip to red. I do believe we have a huge chance. If we are not going to flip the governor, at least we're going to flip some Congress, which is going to give us a leverage for the next election. And I believe that we do all have to develop a backbone. And I do believe one of the candidates that we have running for District 5 really do have a backbone. And I think if you have ever followed me on Facebook, you really do know where I'm standing with my vote. But I think everyone should, yeah. So some of the people that were supposed to join were like, hey, I have a bad service. So we're just gonna do our thing and see if anybody can join. If you like to join, the link is pinned in my YouTube chat, and you can just click on that link and you'll be right in my studio. But before we do it, I have some materials that I prepared, and I want you guys to take a look at them, and I want you guys to kind of make your own judgment, who's better, who you think has a better chance against Johanna Hayes, who's a Democratic representative. And we have a super majority in our Connecticut government right now. We don't have leverage. We, as of Republicans, right this second, we cannot do anything in Connecticut. We just don't have the numbers. And tonight we're talking about a race that I think deserves a lot more attention here in Connecticut, the Republican primary for Connecticut's 5th Congressional District. And we have two candidates, and let's just say their name. It's Jonathan DeBarros and Christopher Shea. And on August 11, the early voting is already opened. So if you wanted to early vote, that's on you. If you want to do that, that's fine. Me personally, I vote always on the day. I don't give them the chance to understand how much numbers, how, what, when, and what's up. So I am going on August 11th. If you already went and voted, thank you so much. I appreciate you. But as far as I'm concerned, there is so many people that are Democratic and they have voted, and Republicans are kind of still really holding back. And honestly, I can't do this anymore. Like, you guys gotta go through. Republicans have to start doing something in the state, because listen, as of how liberal we are, we're number 50. Okay, if ChatGPT says we're number 50, we're number 50. All right, because I asked one time ChatGPT, hey, where do you think I should move that is most conservative? He gave me Connecticut at number 50, being as most liberal state that there is. We are even before California. So with that being said, I'm losing it. I am preparing my life. If this election is not going to go our way, or at least if we're not going to gain some major say in Congress, I'm done, guys. Like, there's nothing for me to look for. This state has turned into a complete shit show. And I have some materials that are going to prove me right. And I have some materials that are going to shed some light here and there on how these two candidates are really doing. And yes, I know one is rebellious, the other one is the Navy SEAL. Oh my God, this and that and the other thing. But I want you to really, really, really think who has got the knowledge, who has been in this world enough to understand just the regular people's problems. And you know what? Even the governor does not understand the regular people's problems. Okay? And it's so funny that every time I speak with anybody, they say to me, hey, Americans are lazy, they don't want to work. I'm like, really? I was like, well, how about Democrats? Because basically everyone who I know, Republican, they do work. But I do know Democrats that they don't work. Why? Why? Well, so tonight I want to talk about both candidates, their backgrounds, what they say they stand for, the controversies surrounding this race, and most importantly, what should the voters actually be looking at when deciding who deserves their vote. And I want to make something clear right from the beginning. I'm not here to tell you that you have to agree with me. Okay? And I'm going to tell you right then and there that, listen, I have the backbone. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you're going to follow me or not. I just am genuine in what I'm doing, and I'm genuine in my own opinion, okay? And I will tell you what my opinion is. And I think you are here to actually hear what that opinion is. I know some people call me obnoxious. Yes, I've been called that. Some people don't agree with some statements that I make online, and that's okay. You don't have to agree with me, okay? But the fact is, we have huge problems here with Connecticut Republican Party. Huge problems. And to be honest with you, until I get to the convention, I really had no clue, no idea. I didn't know what was going really. I was like, let me just produce some podcasts, talk to some people, and this is going to be my contribution. No, guys, this is not the problems that we have here are beyond. You guys, the regular people that has never really paid attention too much to what's going on, have no idea what the hell is going on in Connecticut. We really don't have a Republican Party. We really don't have a Republican Party. And no one in the party, almost no one in the party is conservative. Guys, these people are cozying up to Democrats. They're doing whatever the Democrats want, and this is why we have all these problems. Why this is why we can't ever oppose any bills. This is why we can't ever do anything that we conservatives think that should happen for us. I mean, it's just a lot. And if I'm going to tell you this, you're not going to believe me, but you should see it for yourself. You should experience it for yourself. And there's a lot of people that have. And I actually have their testimony. So I'm going to present it. And then you guys can think about who do you want to vote. And then also we're going to bring up every candidate's present, past, or whatever else that we have there that we need to really talk about. I want to basically produce this live to make sure that I am also able myself to make the clear judgment on who I think is the best candidate to beat Johanna Hayes and who is the best candidate to actually have my business in Congress. My business, okay? There is a lot of businesses that I actually have. I'm a landlord. I'm a small owner business, guys. Okay, and I also work for another company. I want this world to be normal. The world in Connecticut is not normal by any means. It is not. So this is what we're doing here today. We are going to either host some people or not. If they want to join, that's fine. If they don't, it's just going to be me talking. That's fine. Give me a little bit of time. I'm going to present all the materials that I have. I just am focusing mostly on what I have gathered on my own. There is going to be a little bit from, official websites on all these candidates, but here we are. Like I said, I'm not here to tell you that you have to agree with me. I'm not. And if you have a different view, different point, then that's completely fine. Obviously we all have our own thoughts and we all think differently, and this is the beauty of this world. I want people to listen, look at the facts, look at the candidates, and make their own decision. Because ultimately, this isn't about personalities. Let's just not mix this up. The personality of a person is one thing, but what can they do for us is another. So it's about who's going to be the strongest candidate to represent Connecticut 5 in Washington, and who can get these legislatures and the laws through. Okay, even I know there is a limited power that a congressman can do, but they can still present a legislature. They can ask other people to present a legislation. And so, why this race matters. Let's talk about why. Connecticut's 5th district is one of the more competitive congressional districts in the state. The Republican winner will go on to face Democratic incumbent Johanna Hayes. So Republicans aren't simply choosing between two people. They're choosing the person they believe has the best chance of representing their values and competing in the general election. So don't get this messed up. August 11 is just in between two Republican guys for District 5, where we have to decide who is going to be the best one to go into Washington, in between the two guys of the same party. And that's why I think voters need to look beyond endorsements, campaign ads, Facebook arguments, and just personal friendships. Obviously, I have developed a friendship with Jonathan, and I want to just kind of look past that. I want to bring you the facts. That's what I want to do. Look at the candidate, look at their history, look at what they actually say, and ask yourself who can win. Who can win? Who can lead? Who can actually represent this district? There was one candidate that came close, and it was I think George Logan was his name. And I really didn't think this guy had a backbone at all. I looked at him and I was just like, yeah, no. So now we have two people that we can say are qualified as of right now, because one is endorsed by the party, the other one is really endorsed by the grassroots guys. And so he's the people's choice, and the other candidate is the establishment choice. So who's the one that we want? I guess hopefully today we are going to find out. If you didn't make up your mind, I hope I'll help you. Let's start with Chris Shea. Chris Shea is a Republican endorsed candidate in this race. He lives in Cheshire and is a lieutenant with the North Haven Fire Department. And if I do have my facts a little bit messed up, forgive me. I try as best as I can, but with two full-time jobs, it's just really hard for me. So I'm going to tell you right now, this is only informational, and you should really figure out the facts on your own and not just rely on my stream. He's also a retired Navy SEAL and founded Hero to Hero, a nonprofit focused on helping veterans transition into first responder careers. And as we know, of course, we respect our veterans. I respect them. And if you have watched my lives way back into when I started streaming, you know that veterans are deep down in my heart. And so I have raised some money for veterans. I helped a veterans shelter with some clothes, blankets, sheets, and stuff like that. So I respect veterans. But I also have my opinion on veterans. And so I have stated this one time on Facebook that I think veterans have a really big problem transitioning into a regular life. I think they have a lot of mental issues. They have PTSD. They have a lot of them are on disability, and just coming into the regular life, not being a um military life, which is, you know, taking orders and everything, in particular 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 10 o'clock, you know, and there's always someone telling you what to do. We are facing a lot of problems with veterans, and this is why all these foundations are really there to help them, you know. And also a lot of veterans just turn into alcohol, they turn into drugs, and I mean, they go through a lot. They are basically trained killers, and so it is not easy. It is not easy to kill, I would say. Um, if I was in a situation that my life depended on it, well, you betcha I'm pulling that trigger. But it is just not easy to be in a war zone and have to basically fear for your life. Um, and you gotta just pull that trigger any time of the day. So I understand that this is a hard transition into the normal life, and some people really do feel like, um, you know, they have a hard time. Um, one sec. Um, so with that being said, what else? So when you look at Chris Shea's background, you're looking at somebody whose campaign is built heavily around service, military service, public safety, and helping veterans. And don't get me wrong, like I just said, I have done a lot for veterans, and they are always in my heart, even though I'm not from this country, which is funny. To be honest, it's funny that I'm here and I am just kind of fighting here for the freedom of United States, you know. I'm actually Polish. Hey, I mean, it is what it is. I live here. This is my home, and I don't want my home to go to shit, you know. So I really need these candidates to go through for me and for everyone else. Veterans are great. It's just that it's such a small spectrum of what we need in District 5, in my opinion, because we are not just helping veterans. We need to help so many people. We have so many issues in District 5, and it's not even funny. And if you don't know what is going on in Connecticut, because I know a lot of people are watching me from other states, because my Facebook, YouTube is based on a whole entire country, and even outside the country, people that watch me. You have to understand that we live in a fully democratic state. This means really we are putting a pressure from the government on being illegal here, giving people food stamps, giving people health insurance, literally for free. For free. So, as you know, Connecticut, possibly you know or not, right now Connecticut is a bankrupt state. They are not getting enough money from taxes to be able to cover all their bills. And you know what happens in your own household? If you have certain bills, and if you are not bringing enough money to cover those bills, what happens? You're going to lose either your house, your car, whatever. So this is a current state in Connecticut. We are not bringing enough money to pay our obligations. So the state is basically bankrupt. But anyways, going back to Chris Shea, his campaign says he wants to protect American families, reduce wasteful government spending as well, lowering the cost of living, reduce government red tape, support law enforcement, and promote pro-worker and pro-business policies. Well, that's great. I just found this on his website, but I actually never really heard him talking about it. And then we're going to actually see this in some of the videos that I have prepared for you guys. And obviously, being the endorsed candidate gives Shea an important advantage. Or does it? Technically, it's supposed to, but not today, I wouldn't say necessarily, just because GOP in Connecticut is under the fire, guys. This party is ridiculous. It's pathetic how they run and how they cozy up with Democrats. And trust me on that one when I say, because I went through a lot of people voting records, and it blows my mind. They don't vote as conservatives, and a lot of them love to be against our president, but they love to support LGBTQ. How? How? Isn't this the Democrats' job? Anyway, I'm going on too much rants here because I have not been online for so long. Now I have all these thoughts going through my mind. Anyway, and obviously being the endorsed candidate gives Shea an important advantage. Not so obvious anymore. He has the backing of the Connecticut Republican Party establishment, and he won the party endorsement at the state convention. And I do have some videos to actually prove that. But here's the question I think voters should ask. Does party endorsement automatically mean that somebody is the best candidate? Or should voters look at both candidates and decide for themselves? And actually, that's what the primary is for. And then, so when we look at Jonathan DeBarros, let's talk about him for a little bit. Jonathan DeBarros is from Plymouth and has a very different personal story. And we all know probably about his story already because Chris Shea's campaign manager, or his campaign, or himself, I really don't know who it was. I don't want to point fingers, but they really made sure that we found out about Jonathan's past. As of right now, we cannot say Jonathan has had any kind of criminal record. Just want to point that out. But Jonathan founded the Phoenix Youth Foundation, which focuses on mentoring at-risk youth, vocational training, and conflict resolution. And he has worked as an electrical technician. But obviously, Jonathan DeBarros' past has become a major part of his campaign. And it just looks like Chris's campaign as well for some reason. And just to let you know, guys, if you wanted to join the live, you may as well. If you go on YouTube and my chat, you will find a link that is pinned. You can click that link, and that link will bring you to my studio. But just give me a little bit of time and I will open the panel. I just want to talk about this for a little bit more. I don't think we can discuss Jonathan's race honestly without talking about his past. There is a controversy surrounding DeBarros, and do I care about it? Me personally, no, because this was 30 years ago. It was 30 years ago, and I'm pro 2A. And listen, if I had the gun and I had the permission to have the gun, and if someone approached me like this and I felt I was in danger, I would probably fire up. And it will be a a full one. But this is just me. I have guts. Some people don't, and that's okay. If you don't feel like you can kill a person when your life is in danger, that's okay. But a lot of us would, and that's okay. This is why we have a law and order, and this is why we have Second Amendment. And this is why the Second Amendment has not been taken away, but here in Connecticut, they are actively trying to take it away from us. So here's what happened to Jonathan. In 96, he was convicted in connection with a fatal shooting. That murder conviction was later overturned on appeal. He subsequently accepted a plea to manslaughter and served a prison sentence. And I guess it was 21 or 22, I'm not sure. Either or, he received an absolute pardon from Governor Lamont. That history is obviously something voters are entitled to consider. But I believe our 2A supporters are going to understand what is it really to defend your own life. And in 96, John was young. He was young. Maybe today he would act differently. I don't know. We would have to ask him. Maybe he would not. We don't know. But we cannot say he's a murderer. We cannot say that he has a criminal record. And we are not going to focus this stream on the fact that something bad has happened. Because we don't know. We were not there. We cannot judge someone based on that. Because as I already said before, talking about Christopher Shea, who was a Navy SEAL, and I'm going to bring you what Navy SEAL really is, because a lot of people really don't know. Those are people that are trained to kill. So has anyone actually asked Christopher Shea how many people did he kill? And just because the government agrees with it, it's still killing. So should we really be afraid of Jonathan, or should we really be afraid of someone who is trained? I don't know. You ask yourself a question. And I get that. He was supposed to protect the United States, but a gun is a gun, and when you pull the trigger, you kill someone. So only God is going to judge you, I would say. Anyway, the history is obviously something voters are entitled to consider. At the same time, there's an important distinction between saying somebody has a criminal history and calling someone a murderer. After a murder conviction has been overturned and is an absolute pardon has been issued. So you cannot use this. You can't. That distinction has now become part of a legal battle as well, because the DeBarros has filed a defamation lawsuit against 4 people associated with supporters of Chris Shea, alleging that they repeatedly called him a murderer. So, as you know, first of all, social media, Facebook, and anything that you say, you cannot strip someone out of their character just because you think it's okay. By law, he is not a murderer, okay? He is not. That's it. And you can't call him that. Simple. So I guess we're going to leave that to court. Hopefully, the people that are trying to use this against him are going to respond and be kind of a little bit on the easier side, because I understand. This is an important race. And on the one side, we have someone who has their whole entire life spent in the system. And I'm talking about Chris Shea. He has been on taxpayers' money since 1991. He's had great insurance. He's had great benefits. He's had a life of a person that is always on the taxpayers' money. Now, On the other side, we have Jonathan DeBarros, who kind of was in the system too, just a little bit of a different system, who has also been on taxpayers' money, just in prison for 19 years. But now then we found out this man has spent 19 years in prison, and he shouldn't, because some of the stuff that were supposed to be shown in court was not, by my understanding. So now he lost 19 years of his life. Now he came out, and he came out to this freaking crazy world in Connecticut. It was like, wait, hold on a second. What is going on here? This is a shit show here. Let me fix this. Well, we're trying to fix it. And that brings me kind of to something I think is important for everybody watching this. You can criticize the candidate. You can question their past. You can disagree with their politics. You can question their qualifications. But what we should still be careful about, separating documented facts from accusations and political rhetoric. So I just want to make sure that everyone understands that both of these people, Christopher Shea, I'm pretty sure, and Jonathan, have some things to worry about as far as the campaign. And I don't want to really call it by the name, if you understand what I mean. Anyway, so now we get to the interesting part, because when you put these two candidates next to each other, you have two very different stories. And I was just talking about that. Chris Shea is presenting himself as a military veteran, a firefighter, public servant, and experienced leader. Well, that not necessarily translates into his interviews, unfortunately. Jonathan DeBarros is presenting himself as an outsider, a kind of grassroots type of candidate, somebody who is willing to challenge the Republican establishment and fight against what he believes is a broken political system. And yes, Jonathan, I really do agree with you. The freaking system is broken. It's broken to the point that I don't really know if it's repairable. And you know what? So many times people would just tell me, you don't know what you're talking about. To be honest, I wish I didn't know what I was talking about, but unfortunately I do. One candidate has the party establishment behind him. The other candidate is running against the endorsed candidate, but has the grassroots support. One represents experience in military and public safety service. The other has a very unconventional personal history and is running as an outsider. So which approach is going to connect with Republican voters in Connecticut 5? And if you guys have any input, I mean, I would love to really listen about it. There's also another practical question: money and organization. As of the spring, Shea had raised substantially more campaign money than the Barrows. CT Mirror has reported approximately $197,000 for Shea, compared with about $18,000 for the Barrows at this point. That matters because congressional campaigns aren't cheap. Just sending you flyers in the mail is not cheap, because you have to pay for postage. And if you have 70,000 people in Connecticut and your postage is 50 cents, I mean, that's easily 35 grand. So what we have left is basically a social media and a couple other ways that also will work. You need volunteers, you need advertising, you need mail, you need digital outreach, you need people knocking on doors, you need an organization that can actually get voters to the polls. But money doesn't automatically win an election either, because we've seen candidates with much smaller campaign funds and they were surprisingly doing good. It's not all, it's really not all about the money, guys. It really isn't. So if you are a Republican voter in Connecticut 5, I believe here are the questions I think you should ask yourself. Question number 1, who can actually win in November? Not who gets the most Facebook likes, not who has the loudest supporters, who can actually win votes outside the Republican base. Question number 2, who has the strongest record of service? Look at both candidates' backgrounds and decide what kind of experience you value. So now, as I already mentioned, we have 2 different experiences. And do I need a rebellious candidate that is not afraid to speak and that is not afraid to stand up and is not afraid to put an action forward? Do I not need a candidate like that? Answer yourself a question: who's going to be that candidate? Well, I have my answer already. You should answer yourself. Question number 3, who represents your values? So, what my values are. I think you guys know. I think you guys understand that I am for the family, a man and a woman family. I am for the kids. And I need the kids to be born. I don't need the kids to be aborted. And there is many, many more that I really kind of advocate for, but those are my values. Those are my number 1 values. And I do not need the kids to have gender affirming surgeries. I don't need that. I also need actually mental health help to be more accessible in Connecticut, because I don't necessarily think that it is accessible enough. I would say, don't just listen to campaign slogans. Look at their positions, look at their priorities, look at what they say. They'll actually do. I mean, you know, those are the candidates that just came along from nowhere. And when I went to the convention, I didn't even know who Chris Shea was. And I just found out there was like 4 people running for Connecticut 5. I was like, wait, hold on a second. Where are these people from? I don't even know. Like, I'm on social media every single day, and I really didn't even see them being all over the place. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I just, hey. After August 11, this is something extremely important. After August 11, one of these 2 candidates is going to have to ask the other candidates' supporters to get behind them. So are you able to get behind Jonathan, or are you able to get behind Shea after the primary is done? You need to answer yourself that question, guys, because we are running here a very 2 tough campaigns. So if one or the other is going to be chosen, which one are you going to get behind them? I mean, you have to. You have no choice at this point, no matter how much you fight online right now or in any other capacity. I don't care. You just have to get behind the one that's going to win. So make sure you go to polls. If you have your favorite candidate, August 11 is your day. If Republicans spend the entire primary destroying each other, that's going to make the general election much harder. I mean, like, I've seen a lot of stuff going on Facebook, and I just really don't like some of the things that have been going on, to be honest with you. But I mean, who am I to say anything? I'm going to give you my personal opinion. I've spent a lot of time watching this race, talking to people, listening to both sides, and paying attention to what's happening inside the Connecticut Republican Party. And I must say, I really don't like it. Okay, in my opinion, scratch the whole Republican Party and start from the beginning. Okay, because these people are just showing way too many Democratic traits. And I don't know, because you've been in it for so long, I mean, there's a lot of dirt on these people, and it's overwhelming. Republican Party really does not exist in Connecticut, guys. And if we are not going to really pick people that are conservative, we're screwed. We have been screwed for how long? For 8 years at least, we've been screwed. Okay, I do not want to pay more taxes. It's what I'm going to tell you. I don't want to pay more taxes, and I'm done paying taxes in this freaking state. I don't think voters should simply vote for somebody because the party tells them. That's another thing. Just because the party tells you to vote for someone, that doesn't mean that you have to like this candidate. And just because you saw his name on the freaking yard sign, this is who you gotta vote for. No, 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 no. Do your research. Go check these people's Facebooks. Go talk to them. Go try to connect with them. Do they respond to your messages? Well, I know who responds to mine, and I know who doesn't respond to my messages. I tend to believe they both know who I am. At the same time, I don't think you should vote for somebody simply because they are calling themselves an outsider. So it's neither or. I believe whoever is the closest to your personal values, this is who you should vote, no matter what their past was. If you think they can relate to your problems, to your taxes, to your high energy, to you not having a good health insurance, because that is a scam in the United States, and I have been telling you this for a very, very long time, that it's unfair that people have different coverages, that the insurance is literally telling you and dictating your treatment because we're going to pay for this, but we're not going to pay for that. And yes, you, the state workers, have the best freaking insurance that exists. Why do I not have this insurance? Why do I have to go to state to have good coverage? That is not fair. And I don't care if you're going to call it socialist. I really don't care. Give everybody the same type coverage. This is my intake on the insurance. Anyway, you have to look at the entire picture. Character, experience, policies, electability, leadership, and then the ability actually to deliver results. Deliver results. Who's going to deliver the results? That's how I look at it. That's how I look at this race. Anyway, this is something, guys, that I really, really, really want you to listen. And it's going to be kind of long, and I know I'm talking a lot. I don't usually really talk that much. I let other people talk, but I think this is important. I think everyone needs to understand that this is a crunch time right now. The primary is on August 11th. That's like literally 4 days from now, so I need you to show up. But I just want you to listen to something that has never actually been disclosed, and this is a private Zoom meeting that I was a part of, and then I just kind of was like trying to invite this person to talk to me on live, but they really never did. Maybe I was not persistent enough, I'm not sure, but I'm giving you this audio now, and I want you to judge this yourself, and I want you to put that in perspective and understand that this is a testimony of a person that this has happened to, and this shit exists in Connecticut. It really does exist. So let me just share this real quick with you. I don't really ever pay attention to my chat, so if you're there, that's great. I just went on a rant here a little bit. I know my audio is not that great, my picture is not that great, but I'm not in my normal circumstances. I'm trying to figure out my office space and whatever, but I'm just going to share something with you, and this is going to be about 20 minutes of listening, so please make sure that you listen, and make sure that you take that under the consideration when you pick a candidate in this coming election of August primary and between two Republicans. I just wish we never had a primary, to be honest with you. I don't really need it unnecessary. But hey, establishment went the way they wanted, and it's nothing we can do about it. I am actually going to, where is my, so my, I don't know if this is gonna happen, guys. So it's a problem because there's a storm outside my window and my internet does not want to work. The browser can access your screen. Try capturing a different screen to see this continues. Oh my God. Like, come on. I don't know. It's just. It's just not letting me. What a shit show. I don't know if I can share with you guys because this is just not. My internet decided to shit the bed. Illegal. All right, so I'm gonna play this anyways. I had a different background, but 52, 55.
Okay, tell them how we met. I'll give you the short part. I'll kind of condense some of the early, what happened to me. And daughter really started blaming herself for her mom leaving.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. I'm trying. 52, 52, 55. All right. Oh, the YouTube is not responding. I don't know what's going on in YouTube, but we're gonna do this regardless. Give me 1 second. I'll be right with you. All right, so.
Or somebody else that could get her ass out of here.
Right.
Because if you got the right message, the people, the message is going to resonate.
You can't just railroad a kid and a parent into only one way of doing things. It just violates everything. Starting out, my poor kid, she went through a lot, and we did everything we could for this kid to try to get her to realize, no, you're not at fault at all. And she just went through all sorts of different phases. One of them and another phase was this cutting stuff, and we were not for any of that stuff. And in mine, that's what kids my age do. And I'm like, no, sorry, that's not going to fly here. And we did it with love. We didn't do it with meanness or anything like that. And then the next stage was this transgenderism stuff. She came home with that. We believe at school. I don't know every single issue what happened in school. I can tell you that there is a big force in schools behind the scenes that they don't want parents to know about. And I'm a Christian man. My wife is a Christian woman. We know what God says. God said, I made man for woman and woman for man. God didn't say you hate gay people. Not at all. You're supposed to still love gay people. But being gay or straight has nothing to do with the transgender issue. what happens is, whether you're gay or straight, they don't push you into drugs. They don't take your kid away like that. There's so much money to be made in the transgender movement, if you will, that the money is their ultimate, money and control is their ultimate goal. It supersedes any common sense. It supersedes your rights, everything. When I say everything, everything. So what happened was, the hospital my daughter was in made the determination that I was to blame because my daughter was not getting better, because I would not call her by a boy's name. So when the hospital made the recommendation that I was to blame because I wasn't going to go for this, I says, no. I says, I do not have a son. I have a daughter. And if you think I have a son, you are more mentally ill than my poor daughter is. And the problem was they never wanted to deal with my daughter's original issues. And her original issues was she felt abandoned by her mom. And when your mom leaves at 4, it's just a crushing thing, but they do not want to touch that because of the Malloy's transgender therapy law. Just kind of like then I had nothing to hide. No. So I called them. And they told me how the hospital made the complaint about me. And we need to come into your home. I says, you tell me when. I'll be here. Click. So the first time they came, I did not have a lawyer. And it was like the Gestapo. When I tell you the Gestapo, that's exactly what they are. They are the Gestapo. So they had to speak to everybody alone. I says, fine. I have nothing to hide. Do what you must. So I told my wife, we need a lawyer because you can be right on 99 out of 100 things, and they're going to get you on the 100th. So we got Lisa Vincent, who people that see Jonathan's post, you'll see a lady on there, Lisa Vincent. She was my lawyer and a very good one at that. And when she came the second time, same thing, to see everybody separately, fine. Because I had nothing to hide. If you had nothing to hide, do what you must. So DCF made the determination there was no abuse in the home. Lisa said, I want that in writing. And they had to, because it was the truth. So what happened was they were not going to let this go, because ultimately greed, power, and money are behind the scenes with this organization. So their determination was, and I have all these papers. I have a banker's box size container of documents. I'll show anybody on our side, And what happened was, even though there was no abuse in the home, that was only the beginning. Your client has to still go to court. And one of the first things, I hope everybody's sitting down, one of the very first things, and one of the first documents they said, your client has to examine his religious beliefs and how they affect other people. Now, everybody listen to me. Your constitutional right says you have the right to whatever religion you want in your home or none. They don't look at it that way. You're not calling your daughter or boy's name. What gives you the right to do that? Because I'm a Christian. I have a daughter. I have a physical daughter. I don't have a son, period. And I'm not going to change that. And neither is my wife. So Lisa, being the good lawyer she was, she just put a line through that. And she goes, you initial that because you're not going to do that. That wasn't enough for them. Your client has to have a psychological evaluation. because he won't call his daughter by a boy's name. And she said, no, he's not doing that. We had to continue to come into your home to check up on, if you will, everybody monthly. Lisa said, no, you said there's no abuse in the home. No. So if you can get through all that with them, and I'm going to tell you something, there's only 2 reasons I got through all that with them. One was God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. I'm going to tell you, you can't rely on yourself. You must rely on them, because they will provide you with everything you need if you let them. And they provided me with a good lawyer, a very good lawyer. So what happens was, if you're not going to back down after all that, what they do is they take your daughter away from a hospital. They take your daughter away from a hospital, put her with 2 homosexuals side of the state. Because if you're a girl that wants to transition to a boy, they don't want you around any biological women who may say to you, are you sure you want to do this? They don't want any opposition. They put your daughter with 2 men, and they start hormone blocker drugs on her. They don't tell you an address or a phone number. You don't get an address or a phone number of where she is. Any presents not given to her. Any requests by family members or friends to see her? No. And how they do that is, I won't keep everybody too long, but how they do that is they get the child on lithium, which is a very powerful drug for an adult, let alone a child. And between the Malloy transgender therapy law and lithium, they keep tinkering with the kid's mind until they get the child to say, under duress, you might as well say it's duress, because by that point in time, you're not dealing with reality. You molded the kid's mind to what you want for the answer. And what happens is they get her to say, I don't want any more contact with my family again. And they use that as a means so you'll never see your child as a minor again.
And how old was your daughter?
So when the case,
how old was your daughter?
She was 14 years old on hormone blocker drugs against us.
Years old. They took. Now, where do you live? Do you mind saying?
I live in Northfield, which is next to Thomaston.
You do not live in California, do you, sir?
I started thinking so after that.
He reached out to my wife. He sent her some documents about legal documents, and my wife read those, and she said, "John, you got to read this." And I read the documents. I'm like, this can't be real. Like, I didn't believe it. I thought he was like some wacko. Like, I was like, this ain't real. And then we started talking, and then he said,
back up. Let me finish. I got one last thing to finish. One last thing. And this is all revolves around Jonathan. This is everybody that's listening. How many people we have on here? 17 people. Everybody on here, listen to me. This is the type of man Jonathan DeBarros is. This man didn't know me from Adam, but I'm going to tell you something. He messaged me on Messenger, and I think I still have it. He says, I want to speak to you. I really want to know what happened with you. And I saw it on Messenger, and the next line under is, I think I'm in your driveway. I look out my window, there's a Chevy truck there. I'm like, whoa. I went out there, I was shocked. I'm like, this guy right here that we're looking at is the only person who ever cared enough to see what happened. My wife and I were blown away with him. When I say blown away. This is the type of guy Jonathan is. And everybody I find to speak to about him, I tell them exactly, that's what this man did. He didn't know me from Adam. He wanted to know what was going on. And what can I do to help you? And I'm going to get you on Newsmax, which he did within no time. That's the type of guy Jonathan is. I'm going to, and his wife too. These people turn into real friends. We sat down and ate with them several times and went over these things. I'm going to tell you something, people. He is one of the few people that when you say genuine, you can find him and his wife both in that category. They are friends. They're not just they're not acquaintances. They're not just acquaintances. They're not acquaintances. They're my friends. He's the only person running for any office that ever took the time for me. I'm going to make sure every time that I'm in front of a camera or anywhere, I'm going to have to condense it down because there's a lot to this, as you all can hear now. He's the only guy that did that. And his wife is the only woman, both of those two, the only two people that cared about what's going on with your taxpayer dollars and what's going on with kids. So trust me, this guy is well worth supporting. Well, I'm going to tell you something. Yeah, absolutely. I will not back down from ever supporting this guy. Trust me, I don't care who it is. He's got my vote. So anyhow, I'm sorry I kept this so long, but people had to know the background of this. He's the only guy that does this stuff. Really.
Man, listen, when his story, it brings tears in my eyes, because for the government to have the balls come into this man, take this man's daughter because he don't want to put her on puberty blockers, cancer-causing drugs, at 14 years old, and have the audacity to give his daughter to two gay married men on the other side of the state, complete strangers, and then they put her on these drugs and bill his insurance. Like, this is nuts. In Connecticut. So, and tell what year this happened?
2019.
2019.
And I'm not the only either.
And he's not the only one. The lawyer told me, Jonathan, this is happening to hundreds of families across the state. And it just blew my mind. So when I went to Washington, D.C., I got invited to the White House. I got, you ever watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory when you get the golden ticket in the mail? I got an email from the White House inviting me to go to a press briefing. And it was just some random email. Now, I was already heading down to an event in Alexandria, Virginia for the Black Conservative Federation. So somehow they must have had some type of lottery system in which they picked, I don't know how they picked me, but they ended up picking me to go to the White House to attend a press briefing while I was going to be down here in Alexandria. We all didn't get selected. It was only a handful of us that got invited. So on the way down to Washington, D.C., I said, I got to tell somebody about what's going on with Charlie Smith, because I never heard about it. It was never on the news. It was never on state news. And this lady's telling me this is happening to hundreds of families. And I'm like, yo, the news is not even letting people know what's going on. So I said, we don't have no federal representatives. When Trump got in office, he said this was against federal law. In Connecticut, they're doing what they want to do. So I said, when I go down to Washington, D.C., I'm telling everybody everything. I don't care. I don't care if they come kill my ass in the middle of the night. I'm going to let everybody know in the country what's going on here in Connecticut. So I went to D.C., and on the way to Washington, D.C., we found out my father-in-law had a massive stroke. And we're like right there at Alexander. We're like probably like a half hour away from our destination. It was like the devil was working to stop us from going down here. And the next day, my wife was like, my wife had to go back. She's like, I gotta go. And I'm like, I'm going with you. She said, no. She said, you gotta stay. You gotta tell them what's going on. That's when I knew, like, my wife, because my wife loves her dad. Like, she's like this. And she said, no. She said, you got to stay here and finish this. So I was in the Eisenhower room with Jack Brewer. Now, Jack Brewer, he used to play for the Minnesota Vikings. He's a pastor. He has the Jack Brewer Foundation. After we attended the White House press briefing, we went to, I think they call it the International Building in Washington, D.C. This is where all the news outlets is, Fox News, Newsmax. So I get in the Uber truck. I get in the Suburban with a bunch of strangers. I don't even know who they are. We go to the International Building. and I'm with football players. I'm with all these different people. There was a press briefing. So I ended up getting into this press briefing with no freaking clearance or whatever. And I'm standing in line with Jack Brewer, and he gives a speech, and he says, does anybody have anything to say, right? They got all these cameras clicking. I say, I got something to say. So I get up there and I start talking about Charlie Smith and what's going on in Connecticut. And everybody's losing it. They like jaws are dropping. They can't believe this is happening because there's nobody telling them. Who's going to tell them? Christopher Murphy ain't, Blumenthal's not, and none of our 5 congressional representatives. They're not going to say, we chop kids up for money in Connecticut. We take people's kids away so we can make money off of hormone blockers. So when I told this story, John Bachman from Newsmax pulled me to the side and was like, can you get this father on my show? And I said, absolutely. And that's when I got him on Newsmax to tell the story. So God, and then I don't know if you guys remember, 3 weeks after that, after I said what I said in Washington, D.C., and it went viral all over the country, Trump put a crackdown on Connecticut.
He did.
And they had on the news, they were going to stop gender affirming care on minors, anyone under the age of 18. That was right after I went to Washington, D.C. So remember that, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yo, I'm telling you, because the Trump administration, they didn't know. So because you got to remember, there's so much going on in this country, they can't pay attention to everybody. But when I went down there and told that story, that woke everybody up. And that's when William Tong, that's why he sued the Trump administration. He sued the Trump administration because the Trump administration took away federal funding from insurance companies who were providing these services in Connecticut. So they had to change their guidelines and say that they weren't going to do this any longer to children under the age of 18. And that's why William Tong filed a lawsuit, because they want to make money off mutilating people's kids. But it was because I went to Washington and blew the whistle, because nobody else was doing it. This is what I'm fighting for. So that's what I'm telling you. I get this seat, I'm going to be a permanent thorn in their ass. Like, I'm not going to let them take their kids. I'm going to get them arrested by National Guard, federal FBI. The FBI is going to come get them. Trust me, we're going to war. And I'm telling them, you come to my house, whatever they want to do, we're going to get it cooking in the 5th district. We're going to have a civil war out here, because I'm not going to let you infringe upon anyone's constitutional liberties. You're not going to go on nobody's churches and force their kids to be vaccinated, indoctrinated. I'm not going to tolerate that. And if I got to die to stop them from doing it, they're going to have to kill me, because I don't care. In jail, I'm not afraid of jail. I did 19 years in jail. So whatever they want to do, we could do it. That's the fight I'm bringing. That's the fight I'm bringing to the 5th district. Law enforcement, I'm protecting the law enforcement. I'm going to make sure you guys are fully funded. And we got to take the muzzle off our law enforcement mouth, because now it's time to start fighting back. Because, these criminals are getting away with everything. So I'm going to make sure you guys I'm going to back you guys up. But let me stop running my mouth. Anybody got anything else to say? I don't want to hold everybody up.
Okay. Hopefully, everyone has gathered a little bit of an information from this video, audio I just shared. This was an important audio about a story of a father that basically has lost his daughter to government operations. And if you don't believe what has been said, that's fine. That's fine. But I want you to know that Husky Insurance, that is a state insurance, covers abortions and gender affirming surgeries. And they will basically cover anything, meaning they will cover puberty blockers, hormone blockers, they will cover your boobs, they will cover your wee wee, snip, bing bing, you know, anything you can think of that will transform you from a woman to man or man to a woman. And they do that to kids as well. And so you can use your state insurance for that. Just to mention, they don't care to put a child in this world because IVF is not covered by state insurance. But abortions are, and no questions asked. This means that we are covering abortions for the whole United States, to be honest, because whoever else wants to come here and just get an abortion, they can. They don't have to be a Connecticut resident to get the abortion paid for. I mean, that tells you something. That tells you a lot. Why taxpayers are funding abortions and why taxpayers are funding your gender affirming surgeries for kids. I don't know. Strange. Because I think if you are getting an insurance from state, it should be preventive care. It should be terminal illness care, and I have absolutely no problem paying taxes for people that have terminal illnesses, that need preventive care, that need mammograms, that need anything else that will prevent having cancer. Gender affirming surgeries are not that. Abortions are also not that. But the government does not care to put a child on this world, in this world, meaning when it comes to IVF, Connecticut does not care. The IVF in Connecticut is still $30, $40, $50, $60, $70,000. And if you want a surrogate, it's $100,000. Who can afford that? And yes, you can argue, hey, we don't want to this child that is going to come to this world, we don't want to provide insurance for them to the rest of your life. Well, why not? You're already providing one for illegals. So what does that matter? Anyway, I think after this audio, you are going to make up your mind about this candidate that I'm talking about, and that's Jonathan DeBarros, who was heard in this audio speaking as well with the gentleman that DCF has just decided to take his daughter because they can do whatever they want, and that's, ladies and gentlemen, is not fair to us. This is not the services that we're paying for. This is not the services that we're paying for, meaning DCF should not have the say if you are going to allow or not your kids to wanting to change the gender or not. This is strictly parents, and so as medical freedom, this is strictly parents that should have the say of what your kids should be, how your kids should be vaccinated, and if your kids should be vaccinated, and what your kids' treatment supposed to be. And now here we go, we're going back to your old insurance that one person is covered more, one person isn't, the other one does not have the deal, and then it's gotta pay millions of dollars of copay. No, insurance is not fair to people in the United States, and no, you are not going to dictate my treatment. And then so I had this happened when I had my two knee surgery. That has happened. I had a cartilage that was completely shattered, and my doctor told me I have to go through physical therapy first to get the MRI even performed on my knees, because otherwise the insurance is not going to cover this. Is this fair to me? No, because this physical therapy actually made me so miserable because I was in so much pain, and no physical therapy would ever fix my problem. So now you can shove that insurance up your ass, and you are not going to dictate my treatment. The doctor should be free to prescribe you the treatment that they think is the best for you, and not because insurance pays or doesn't pay for it. And no, I don't agree for state workers to have the best fucking insurance that is out there, but I'm a small business owner, cannot have this insurance ever in my life. I cannot have the same coverage. That is not fair, and that needs to be taken care of. I'm telling you, put yourself in my shoes. Put yourself in my shoes. If you don't understand what I'm talking about. Anyway, this was about the whole LGBTQ plus community, that when they take the kids away from you, and that's DCF, that's your DCF that is doing that. You have to remember, and you have to pick a candidate that understands those problems exist in Connecticut, and they do exist widely. This is just the only one testimony that I'm showing you guys, that I was able to put my hands on it. I mean, there are so many people, and to be honest with you, if I could have these people talk to me and reach out to them, I would. But they're afraid for their lives. That's what the problem is. So this is what Jonathan is all about. He's all about the right things, in my opinion, and listening to this Zoom call that was only for certain people to listen. So I am really kind of releasing this to you because I can, and I'm the part of them, I guess. It's important for you to know. It's really important for you to know what's going on, and telling me things like this don't exist. It's just not. It's just not. No question. Is the other candidate, Chris Shea, does he even know things like this exist? Because he has not one time ever said anything about it. So, John here.
Well, what's up, Agnes? Paulus Agnes, what's going on?
John? I am not even through half of the shit I gotta show, and here you are.
Hey, man, I just want to stop in and say how thankful I am of all your support and everything that you do for our movement, for patriots throughout the whole entire state, and especially for my campaign. I'm very grateful to have you in my corner, and I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for people like yourself supporting me. So that's why I jumped on. I was all the way out in Harrington at an event, had bad service. Then I went and stopped and got a bite to eat. Me and Rob. Like 2 days. My brother ranted with everything that's going on.
We love you, Agnes. Hey, we're losing you a little bit. Not sure what happened.
I hooked up to the
to my car.
To your. Oh yeah.
Hold on, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it off.
Hold on. Hooked up to the Bluetooth. All right. You hear me?
There you go. I got you back.
All right. So, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do, because you're a very important person in this movement. You know what I'm saying? Because you got a large platform, and also your heart's in the right place. You're always thinking about helping anyone that needs to shine their spotlight. Of service, of what they're trying to do for the community. And I just wanted to pop on and say thank you. And Tuesday night, it's going to be a big night for everyone. And I'll give you the details of where we're going to be doing a watch party. And that's going to be in Waterbury. And I'll let you know exactly, where it's going to be at. Agnes.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Unfortunately I may be at work because I
Yeah.
do
Hey,
start working at 6
nah,
o'clock.
but even if you're at work, don't worry.
But I just really wanted to come on and, compare you and Chris to what my knowledge about both of you is, to be honest. And I'm referring to some of the materials that I have here, on my YouTube and some other stuff. So people can really decide, who's more genuine and who wants to work for us, in Washington, D.C. And to be honest with you, I really need, me personally, as a person that has a backbone, and I do understand that not everyone likes me, that not everyone always agrees with what I say, not everyone understands my point of view, how I feel about things, because I do come from a different culture. Let's not forget that. And I see things a lot differently. I've been raised in a completely different country where I just came here and I made this country my own. And now, to be quite honest, this was not a journey for myself that I ever really, envisioned to be here. And then I looked at the following that I have, and I came to conclusion that it's really actually the biggest in the whole entire Connecticut, which is freaking funny. But honestly, I think when you are a genuine type of a person, you will be able to have some traction with a lot of people. And I consider you as a genuine person. And I have been around you so many times, and I can just assure everyone that I feel that you are rebellious enough to carry us through Washington, D.C., and carry our legislation and anyone else. I believe that you are the one that is going to come through. Even if you don't agree with something, you are going to go against people because you are true to your own beliefs and your values really align with mine. And that's what the most important part about it is for me, to be honest. And I'm trying to show people that you are the one that can carry us over, and you are the one who's going to fight hard, because you understand the problems that we have.
Yes. Thank you. I appreciate it. Today I was on Fox 61, and I also was on the War Room with Steve Bannon. Sunday, Laura Logan, I was going rogue with Laura Logan. That's, MAGA. I mean, people, they're not used to that out here in Connecticut. A candidate not shying away from being a proud American first candidate, And listen, like right now, we're in our garage right now working on things, but I just want to look.
I love it. We're
Frederick
definitely in support of President here.
Listen, man, I'm not going to shy away from the president. I'm not going to shy away from his policies. And I got my own policies that I'm going to push in Congress as well. And even if people don't agree with the president on everything, I mean, who do you agree with 100%, right? Me and my wife, we don't agree with each other all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's just regular stuff. But they trying to make it seem like you got to freaking bash Trump because you disagree with something, or you might not even understand why Trump said or did something that he did. It's just insane to me that people can't even think about how many billions of dollars Obama and Biden sent to Iran to appease them, right? That was their way to keep peace in the Middle East. Give them billions of our American tax dollars so that they could use it to fund terrorist cells throughout the world, or enrich uranium that they could actually use against Americans one day. I mean, it just blows my mind that you got these same people complaining about President Trump fighting against Iran when Hillary Clinton, That was part of her platform in 2016. She said she gets
Yeah,
empowered.
she literally said she's gonna bomb the shit out of them.
Exactly. Now all of a sudden, Trump don't just talk about what he's gonna do, he do it. He does it. So now all of a sudden it's a problem. But yet we just forgot how much bombing we was doing in Ukraine during the Biden and Harris administration. These same leftist radical Looney Tunes that are complaining about Trump protecting our best interests by going after these people. Because first of all, the first thing that he did was he offered to have a third-party country enrich their uranium for them so they could use it for peaceful means, right? They said, no, we're not interested. We got our own uranium enrichment facilities. But they're all buried on the ground because they were hiding the fact that they were not enriching uranium for peaceful means. They was getting weapon-grade uranium that they was going to eventually use against us. And we couldn't allow that to happen. I mean, if you got to pay a little bit high gas, we're still not paying as high a price of gas that we was paying underneath Biden.
Yes,
So,
I actually have done a comparison to the whole entire Biden years that we were paying gas and the first 15 months of Biden's administration and first 15 months of Trump's administration. We are still going under Trump, 20 cents less a gallon when you compare and do the average that we were paying under Biden. And there was no war, and Biden literally took us over when there was COVID. So
yeah.
the
But you know why though?
Itself, yes, exactly.
Because
so we are still lower than where we were under Biden, and no one wants to admit this.
Absolutely, because what Biden did was, as soon as he got into power, he destroyed Trump's economy. So he stopped drilling oil, right? Then we had a surplus. When Trump was in office, the reason why gas fuel was so low, we had a surplus of our own oil. So what Biden did was he took Trump's surplus and sent it to freaking Ukraine and Germany to help them get through the winter because of the war had broke out between Ukraine and Russia. That the United States instigated because they allowed Kamala Harris. I remember she made that statement about expanding NATO into Ukraine. They were sending all these signals to Putin, trying to instigate this war, this conflict in Ukraine, because BlackRock and Vanguard already had a plan, an infrastructure plan, just like Halliburton, what they did when they said weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. You know what I'm saying? Dick Cheney making money off Halliburton. They carpet bomb the shit out of these countries, and then they get the contracts to rebuild it. And who pays for it? Us. These people are crazy, man. But
we basically pay for anything, you know. Like, I don't know if you just noticed that I was just playing your audio from one of the Zoom meetings that we had about, you know, the guy that daughters was taken by the DCF, you know, and all the puberty blockers, and the fact that his insurance was charged for all of this, you know, and people have no idea that the stuff like this is happening here in Connecticut, you know, and when you tell them, they still say like, no, that is not happening. But you know, I mean, there is just so many things that you bring to light, Jonathan, that people needs to pay attention to, and I really don't see that from the other side of the campaign that we have with Chris Shea. I have not once seen him talk about like the issues that are kind of the real normal people issues, you know, like the health insurance. Like, I mean, it's just a lot. And we really need a person who's going to go into the Washington, D.C. and just make a revolution there, to be honest, because we need it. We need someone who's going to stand up and not be afraid to speak. Like, I don't want someone who's going to just be watching for the establishment, you know, approval and be easily manipulated. You know, if it was me going to Congress, I'd be all freaking crazy there, you know? And so I don't really blame you going vocal about so many things. And I really applaud you for that, you know? And so before the convention, I was like, oh my God, why is Jonathan always talking about rhinos? Jesus Christ, can he freaking focus on Connecticut more? But then I went to the convention and hey, oh my God, I have changed my view on literally every single thing. I keep telling people we do not have a Republican Party here in Connecticut. We need to take them all out and start from the scratch. They
Absolutely.
are crooked
Yeah,
so
they
bad
are.
to the
They're-
point
they're-
I don't
they're-
even want to know any, or I don't want to be associated with any Republican Party at this point. Any RTC, I really don't want them until we change the way how we operate and until we become conservatives. There is no Republican Party in Connecticut. So make sure people, whoever is going to vote.
We are the Republican Party, the grassroots. We're the real grassroots. They got the balls to even say that my Republican opponent is a grassroots candidate. I'm like, how?
No!
These people are so freaking crazy. They're nuts. His only mission is to make sure I don't get on that ballot in November. That's his mission. He has no strategy of beating Ned Lamont. He could care less. I mean, not Ned Lamont, John Hayes.
John.
Yeah, he has no plan to actually win in November. His plan is only to follow his orders, and that's to make sure I don't get on that ballot. So if people fall for it, then they like communism. You gotta like communism to fall for that shit because you've been losing elections for 20 years on purpose.
Well, people need to understand that we need to focus on picking more Republicans into Congress because Democrats have literally supermajority and they can pass any laws they can please. So please make sure you pick some Republicans. Make sure you show up to the polls. Make sure you go and pick your candidate for District 5. And District 5 in particular is actually extremely important district. You have people here that are a variety of different people, meaning there are investors, there are landlords, there are people that are Section 8, there are people that are just regular, you know, regular people that are working class people. So you have a variety of different you know, folks that are going to look for a different approach for this coming election. I mean, I consider myself just a regular type of a citizen. I don't consider myself neither rich or I don't consider myself neither poor. Okay? I consider myself a successful immigrant in the United States. And I need someone to be able to hold, you know, the Congress accountable for me. And what I'm looking for, easier laws, okay, easier laws on landlords, not really the tenants, to be honest with you. Because when you really look at the other states, the grace period to pay your rent is 3 days. It's not 10 days. Okay. So we have a lot of stuff going on here that where Democrats are trying to push on a lot of people who are providers in this state. And yes, we have mostly private landlords, honestly, owning all these buildings, and they are the ones who provide you with housing. So are you going to make it harder on landlords so they can just keep those buildings empty? Or are you going to make it easier on landlords? Like, you know, just Mamdani has froze the rent on those landlords in New York. Was that a good move? In my opinion, really not that great move, because you know what is going to happen? If the landlords cannot make their living, if the landlords cannot maintain the buildings, you are going to leave.
Absolutely.
If you are a tenant, it doesn't matter that you are Section 8 subsidized, whatever. If someone cannot sustain the building, they are going to let you go, and they're going to look for other people that are going to pay more. And hey, We are short 3 or 4 million houses in the whole entire United States. If you think if you are in an advantage, you're not. You're not. So all these laws that, they need to be rethought. And whoever is just sitting on their ass and doing absolutely nothing, not going to school and just sitting on the front steps and smoking weed and not working and thinking that the taxpayers are going to flip the bill for them and pay for their housing, well, no longer. This is going to happen in Connecticut. So this is
Exactly.
why we need to pick outright Republicans for this, because we know the Democrats are not going to deliver for us. Lamont is looking for a snatched by ICE, okay? Snatched by
Right.
ICE immigrants that were illegal in
Yeah.
Broadley Airport, and he is trying to provide them with legal help, meaning funded by your taxpayers. Okay, he is trying to figure it out who was taken by ICE, meaning arrested by ICE on Broadley International Airport in Connecticut. And our governor is just like, oh, hey, let's give them the tax money. Meaning we provide lawyers for them, we provide anything else so they can stay here. Why would they stay here actually is beyond my understanding, because everyone have had their opportunity to seek the legal status here in Connecticut. They are still illegal, and if they are still for 3 years, do you think that they ever put $1 in the system? No,
No.
they probably not.
Nope.
So make sure we vote the right person.
They probably send more money to their other countries. Like
Correct.
look at Minnesota. All those Somalis, they were sending money to Somalia.
The whole entire operation and all the money from all these diggers was funneled to Somalia. This has been proven. It's been proven, guys.
Yep.
So let's just not fall for this. I get it. Politics are terrible, and even we have to be in this game, and we have to be in this mess, and we have to make sure that I always say, since I started my camera work, I said fire the government and start from scratch. But this is unfortunately not a possibility, because the government kept us so divided that we don't ever agree on anything. Like left and right just doesn't agree. And the independent people are just not electable. Unfortunately, they're not. And so we have no choice. We have to pick better values, and we have to make sure that we run on the same values.
Absolutely.
And I believe that we have enough people in Connecticut. It's so funny because I do meet these people all the time. I just don't know if they don't go to polls or what is happening, and if the boomers are the ones that are messing with our numbers, because they still think Democratic Party is the same that was fucking 40 years ago.
No.
And they're not. The boomers never recognized the shift in the Democratic, in the Democratic Party.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, they kept watching the TV and they just never ever searched the information, and so that's a problem. This generation, in my opinion, it's a problem, because they still believe Democrats are good, and they are nowhere near around being good, unfortunately. And then just to also mention one other thing, LGBTQ, which I have been vocal about. I just need you to guys understand something. LGB, lesbian, gay, bi. This is your sexuality. There's nothing to be proud about it. Okay? I don't need to know about it. I don't give a shit. Do what you want. Be a bottom, be a freaking top. I don't care. Don't put that in my face, okay?
Exactly.
So that's LGB, all right? And T plus is an identity crisis that I believe needs to be evaluated, and it needs mental health. Why all these people have been put together is beyond my understanding, because T is transgender. This is your identity crisis, and plus is everyone else that wants to be a cat and a dog and whatever else they want to be. Okay, and that's just a psychological problem. So I keep saying to people, we need more mental health in Connecticut, and the mental health needs to be more approachable, and it needs to be provided by your insurance. And it's not like you have to wait months to get to your psychologist or psychiatrist, you know. And you can't just be like, oh, my freaking time is 9 a.m. at certain time and whatever. Do you understand, Jonathan, how hard it is to get mental help in this state? It's extremely hard, and I'm gonna tell you on my own example.
Agnes.
Alicia is who you talking about. So yeah, it's extremely hard to get mental help, and I'm one of the examples and prime examples of trying to get mental help, and there is really not a lot that you can do in that department, because unfortunately it's crucial that your therapist align with your values. If they don't, we have a problem. It's a huge problem if they don't understand that you want to keep the pregnancy. They don't understand if you want to remain in an alcoholic relationship, you know. I mean, it's a big issue that these therapists, first of all, are not approachable because they don't have enough openings to accept people. And second of all, just the amount of money you got to pay for them is crazy. And so it doesn't matter if it's something that you struggled with mentally your own, if you have an addiction. And addiction here or anywhere in the United States is huge, you know. It's a huge problem. And there is not enough help for it. And just the treatments itself are extremely expensive. And unfortunately, the state does not help you with that. And I believe it's a huge downfall. It's a huge downfall because people don't have backbones in the United States. A lot of them. They don't. But anyway, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so focused on showing some materials that I have here, you know, about you and Christopher Shea. And they are all mostly from my live streams or whatever else I have gathered. I hope people are going to make the right decision on August 11, and I hope that everyone is just going to show up to the polls. Republicans really have to deliver. Just go and vote, and don't tell me I had this and that going on and yada, yada, yada. It's important. It's important for our lives for another 4 to 6, 8 years that we are going to live in this misery. I do not want to pay more taxes. You need to redo the budget. You need to make sure that Connecticut is successful. Currently, it's not. It's just not.
Absolutely. So everybody turn out to vote Tuesday. I think the polls open up at 6 a.m. all the way to 8 p.m. Early voting. There's people that early vote. I got a lot of messages from people that's early voting as well. Listen, just get to the polls. That's the main thing. Because now's the time for us to take this seat. I've been preparing for this seat for 17 months. I got the edge in the cities to get the job done. I got support in the rural areas as well. Goshen, Harrington, Kent, Canton, they're all backing me in this race. Please turn out to the polls. Vote for Jonathan DeBarros. Get this so we can get this job done in November. And that's it. But I gotta go. I gotta wake up early in the morning. And anybody that's gonna be in the Kent area, I'll be down there in Kent.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning. So be down there. And then I don't even know where else I'll be at after that. But I'm making my rounds. I know they got a rally out in Canton for me tomorrow. There's a couple flag waving events that's going to be happening tomorrow and Sunday. So you guys might see some of my strong supporters behind me, waving my signs. A lot of my signs, some people took my signs out and put my opponent's signs in place. A bunch of nonsense, but that's small potatoes. Tomorrow, if you could get to the polls, because the polls are open even on Saturdays and Sundays. Just do the right thing, man, so we can
I
finally
am going
win.
on the 11th, so
Yeah,
I
vote
am
on the
I
11th.
never vote early.
Well, a lot of people vote on the 11th. I believe we're gonna have a big turnout. So thank you, everybody that already voted. Thank you to the people that plan to vote on the 11th. I'm very grateful and honored to receive your vote and your trust. And don't believe that. Don't believe the nonsense that's coming out. Most people are not. They're disgusted by it, and I'm ready. You know, I'm gonna get ready to go.
We are Republicans. We are pro 2A.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
who is the better candidate than you?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Hey, listen.
So, I mean, at this point, we just have to understand that, you know, some things don't always work the way we want. Some things we can't ever be judged on. Some things we have never been there to experience. Some things we don't know what we would do. But we have the instincts that are telling us, you know, what's up. And I'm going to tell everyone right now, my instinct is I know Jonathan is going to go crazy and above and beyond for us in Washington, D.C.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. As always, God bless you. God bless your family. And I'll see you guys soon on the campaign trail. Tuesday nights right around the corner.
Hopefully it will be winning primary, and then I promise if you beat Johanna Hayes, I will definitely be at this party.
All right, cool. Thank you. All right,
Take care, John. Good luck tomorrow.
Yep. All right, thank you. Yep, bye.
Bye. All right, so you guys, we were honored to have Jonathan today, and that's great because he always shows up to wherever you ever are doing. He shows up to all the events. He shows up to all the rallies. He is just always present with us. But you know, I mean, I have this one time basically an opportunity to request or ask Chris Shea to debate Jonathan DeBarros, and I have sent an official request to his email, to his Facebook. Of course, I did not get the response at all from the Chris's campaign or himself. He is just basically avoiding. I believe that he understands and knows that I am a fan of Jonathan, although I think I am able to listen to the both sides and I am able to stay neutral. And I think the debate would help a lot of people to determine if they wanted to vote for a particular candidate or not. Unfortunately, we were not able to get that debate, and that is fine because that also says a lot about some people. Anyways, I have other materials that I want you guys to listen to, and this is a convention that has happened in May, and it was kind of interesting. And then after the convention, I was just kind of like, I really don't like this. I don't like these people. I don't like this vibe. I don't like this setup. I don't like the way how this all was organized. I don't like the chair of this party. I've met him. I talked to him, and he was like, "Oh, let's have fun." I'm like, "Wait. What do you mean, let's have fun? This is not fun to me. This is my livelihood. What are you talking about?" So I just don't like the Connecticut Republican Party. I just don't. And I have various reasons to not like them. And I don't really honestly think that Republican Party came up with winning candidates in a very, very long time. And I also think if you are not producing, every company would probably fire you. If you were the manager and your numbers basically would not be good to the company, they probably would fire you. And I believe we should do the same. If someone does not perform, we should fire them. And we have that ability to fire the government or government entities. We do have that ability, guys. We are the ones that are paying for them. And so if the Republican Party cannot come up with candidates to fill 30 uncontested seats, 40 uncontested judges seats, but they can come up with a candidate within 3 seconds to primary the other candidate because all of a sudden they didn't like someone, I mean, it tells you a lot, to be honest. I just don't know how that is possible. How is that possible? And to be honest with you, I was asked by a lot of people, to run for House and to run here, run there, yada, yada, yada. Yes, I am passionate about this country. But I also, unfortunately, even though I have some friends that are running and they are not fully American, meaning they have gotten a citizenship, because they came to this country later on in life. I believe that immigrants should not run for office. And so I don't think I should run for office either. Because how do you know I care about this country? And how do you know I don't care more about Poland than you? Just because I got my citizenship means absolutely nothing. Just because you see me caring about this country is one thing, but you can't 100% know ever what my agenda would be. So anyone who does not have a citizenship and was born here, I don't think it's a good idea to have them run. Their culture, their priorities, and their values may not always align with the ones that we have here in the United States. And I'm sorry to some of my friends that are running. I really apologize. I support you guys still. I understand that you have the best interest. But me as a person and as a Polish person that came here as an adult and got my citizenship about 10 years ago, I am just not going to run for office. I'm going to speak about it, but I'm not going to run. Why? Because I don't want to. And hey, if I did, and if I ever won, I would have a state insurance, the best insurance that ever exists. And to be honest, I need it. I need that insurance. But I'm not going to do this for my personal gain. And we see a lot of people doing this run for their personal gain. Now you have to answer yourself a question. Who is that is doing that for personal gain? Anyways, I have a few other I have a few other things that I want to show you guys. So I have Chris Shea official video from his website. So let me just play this for you, and then we're going to play the speeches from. I should have a cardboard cutout of Shea. Yeah, this is not really a debate. It was not going to debate. I am just talking as me, as a Polish Agnes, as a person that has been having a little bit of a different type of view on a lot of things that Americans even have. I just believe that we are not all equal and we are not all treated the same, and that's a problem for me. Call it socialism, I don't give a fuck, okay? Me and other people need to be treated the same, and also whoever is illegal here is getting the benefits, and I'm paying for these benefits with my taxes, I have a problem with. A big, big, big problem with. Because, hey, everyone was provided with the chance of getting here legally. they just decided not to. And that's okay. And that's okay. All right, so here it is. This is his campaign website, guys. And then so now we're gonna just play what he says.
When you dedicate your whole life to saving others, you dedicate your life to protecting the vulnerable. You dedicate your life to fixing the mess. You dedicate your life to restoring hope.
I'm Chris Shea. Service never stops. And you know, I'm pretty sure those folks down in Washington forgot that. I approve this message, and I'm ready for the next mission, serving you in Congress. Let's do this.
Okay, so basically Chris Shea is seen in this video with a gun. No? Have we not seen the guy here with a gun? Here, right here, right? And here, the gun again. And here, oh, this is a firefighting. Okay. So, again, I really appreciate his service as a Navy SEAL. And so I just wanted to make sure that everyone understands the U.S. Navy SEALs are the United States Allied Special Operation Force. I don't know if everyone understands what this entitles when you say I'm a Navy SEAL. To be honest with you, I did not know that either. I had to actually research what that really meant. And this is how I know that this particular Navy SEAL have probably killed a lot of people in his service. And that no one is really, to be honest, looking at that part of his career. And everyone is just praising him for, yes, he protected the country. But when you deep down look for the answer with, hey, I killed someone, the government told me I could, but I killed someone that is tried to attack me. How do you really put those things on a scale? Killing is killing, no matter who pulls the trigger and no matter who the person is. Is it a war? Is it not? I mean, did the government let you? I mean, you're, what is your body count, Chris Shea, at this point? I mean, they don't really particularly keep the records that tell you how many people were really killed, and I wish they did, because I want to know. I wanted to ask him that question really honestly in person. But I know veterans don't usually talk about those things, and I was told that I should not ever ask the veteran how many people they killed. Okay, but do you understand if you go and enlist yourself or you become a police officer, this is what you're actually agreeing to do. There will be some killing probably involved in your career. If you have gone through 30 years or 20 years of career as a police officer and you have never actually pulled a gun on anybody, I mean, bless your heart, you had an easy one. This is all about killing. Military is all about killing, and let's not pretend it's not. And I don't care if the government allows it. You still kill the person. So yeah, I mean, so SEAL stands for Sea, Air, and Land, meaning they are trained to operate in all three environments. And their mission includes counterterrorism, capturing or eliminating terrorist leaders, and rescuing hostages. special reconnaissance, so that is strictly gathering intelligence behind enemy lines, direct action raids, conducting surprise attacks on high value targets, hostage rescue, saving civilians or military personnel held captive, boarding ships, protecting ports, and carrying out underwater missions, training and supporting allied military or resistant forces, monitoring enemy activities without being detected. SEALs undergo one of the toughest military training programs in the world, including intense physical conditioning, swimming and diving, parachuting, weapons and explosives, survival, evasion, resistance, and escape, close quarters combat. One of the most well-known SEAL missions was the 2011 raid that killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. So judging by Chris Shea's personal description of his service, looks like he was still enlisted in 2011. So who knows, he might have been also kind of, okay, hold on guys, because I get multiple text messages from people. Okay, never mind. So his personal description of his enlisted career and stuff like that indicates that he was still a Navy SEAL in 2011, because he just got retired in 2021. I guess he started in 91. And also only a small percentage of candidates successfully complete SEAL training, making it one of the most selective military units in the U.S. Armed Force. Everyone thought those were Marines, but no, actually not. There are the Navy SEALs that have the toughest, because they're trained in all the different environments. So now, according to Chris Shea's campaign biography and multiple Connecticut news sources, his military career includes the following. He enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 91 as a hospital corpsman and was first assigned to Navy Hospital Groton in Connecticut. He completed basic underwater demolition SEAL training and Special Forces medic training before joining SEAL Team 8. During his career, he also served with SEAL Team 18, Naval Special Warfare Group 2, Naval Special Warfare Development Group, Special Operations Command North, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City, the Pentagon, working in Naval Special Warfare requirements and funding. Geez. His reported deployments and assignments included Bosnia, Sarajevo, in 97, where he says he worked on a joint task force that gathered intelligence, apprehended suspects, and assisted with extraditions related to war crimes in the former Yugoslavia, Afghanistan, including work in 2006 and 2011. So, hey, 11 Afghanistan and not Pakistan. Okay, on integrity task forces targeting Al-Qaeda and Taliban high-value individuals. Mexico, where he led planning assistance and training teams, and later commanded a SEAL element that trained Mexican Special Operations Forces to combat transnational criminal organizations. Oh my goodness. He was commissioned as a chief warrant officer in 2012 and attended the LDO CWO Academy in Newport, Rhode Island in 2013. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, he retired from the Navy, not 21, but in January 2024. and returned to the North Haven Fire Department, where he serves as a lieutenant. He also founded Hero to Hero, a nonprofit that helps military veterans transition into first responders careers. And we have talked about this, and I have talked about this. I mean, there are plenty of foundations for veterans. Veterans do have a problem transitioning into a real life. Why? Because a real life does not include the structure, does not include telling you what to do. Soldiers are good to take orders. It is what it is. Unfortunately, that's how their life was being ruled. And if you don't agree with that, that's fine. You don't have to. And if you have a husband that is this amazing veteran that was successful in life, good for you. But a lot of them are not. Unfortunately, a lot of them have problems. And it's just a fact. And you know what? We're going to run on that fact. So who knows? Much of the detailed information about his military assignments come from his own campaign biography and public statements. Independent news organizations have confirmed that he is a retired Navy SEAL, but they generally do not independently verify the specifics of special operations assignments, which is common because many such details are not publicly documented. So we do have to believe that what he says is true. There is no official public number for how many people were killed by U.S. Navy SEALs, either collectively or by individual operators. The U.S. Department of Defense intentionally does not maintain or publish a running count of enemy combatants killed because it considered body counts to be an unreliable and potentially misleading measures of military success. Someone is texting me, which is driving me crazy a little bit. So no one text me. I don't need you to text me right now. A few important points. Thousands of Navy SEALs have served in combat since the unit was established in 1962. Since 2001, SEALs have conducted hundreds of missions in Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, Somalia, Yemen, and elsewhere. Some SEALs, particularly those with multiple combat deployments, have killed enemy fighters. Others may have served in support, reconnaissance, training, or advisory roles without ever firing their weapon in combat. Regarding Christopher Shea specifically, there is no public record stating how many enemy combats he personally killed. He has described serving on mission in Bosnia, Afghanistan, and Mexico, but likely nearly all U.S. Special Operations personnel. He has not publicly disclosed any personal kill count, and there is no official source that reports one. So we do not know. So the accurate answer is it is unknown, and specific number you might see online for an individual Navy SEAL who has not publicly documented it would be speculation rather than verified facts. So let's not beat around the bush. Navy SEALs have killed multiple people. Okay, that Chris Shea killed someone, we don't know. He has never actually told us that he did or he didn't. But his whole entire campaign is literally based on his career in the Navy SEALs. This guy has gotten out of this career in 2024. Hold on. Where is it? I guess that's what I read, didn't I? Anyway, he has not been really out there looking for another job, having to purchase an insurance, having to buy a house lately, having to really relate to any of your problems. This guy was busy fighting for the country. So how does he understand our problems? How does he understand how our lives changed from 2020 to 2026? How does he know? Did he have to buy a house? I'm going to look it up literally and see when he actually bought a house last time. So I'm gonna look up his address, which I am not going to show here, but I want to know when he purchased a house last time. And I may find out, I may not. He's 64 years old. Let's see if I can find his address. It's gonna be a good question. I actually, I don't know if that's the one that is accurate, but I'm going to check real quick. I'm not going to tell you, but I can just check for myself, to be honest with you, because I don't really like to go off of the people that have not been in the society, in the present society, to be honest. Okay, so the last address that has been listed for him here is Fairfield, and that's $2,943,000, and I do not know if that's correct or not. It was sold in 2017. So I don't know if it was sold to him or he sold it to someone. That's a little bit of an overwhelming number, to be honest with you guys. Current address. Current address. I mean, that's public information, so it's not like... That might not even be the Christopher Shea that we're looking for, so don't quote me on that. What city it was from? Forgot. Native Watertown. Where is he from? Meet Chris. Okay, join the team. Native Water. Okay, let's see if we can find out where he lives. I want to know, when did he buy the house last time, and when did he have to worry about health insurance? Because I know Jonathan, he just recently bought a house, and then he also recently had to look for a job, that regular job, not the state provided job. So let's see what information we can find. Which I am not going to disclose. Everyone can disclose. Okay, I found his address. That's just been public, guys. But I'm gonna give you... So the address that has been listed here has been sold in 2024. Okay, I do not actually believe that maybe that he bought it for his daughter or something, because I don't think this is the right one. Residential address is in Cheshire. Okay, so this address appears in Connecticut election records and the candidate's Secretary of State filing. His campaign committee mailing address is different. Okay. I don't know if we are going to actually find out, because I am getting two different towns that he's from. Anyway, what I'm getting with this is I would like for a candidate to relate to my problems. To my problems of not having a decent insurance. To my problems of having to pay thousands of dollars of taxes. To my problems of having to evict tenants that don't pay taxes, don't pay rent. To my problems of what the government is really providing for the families and what it doesn't. To my problems of kids being honestly taken by the DCF. To the DCF not being able to perform their jobs because 80% of them are just working from home. I just don't think that some of the people that are presented for us can relate to these things. But I'm going to show you one of the, and I know this is already getting kind of long, but I want to share with you someone's live stream with these two guys talking about issues. And I don't necessarily need.
That was awesome. I know I was calling to pick it or to get it automatically. Hey, everybody, thanks so much for having us out tonight. It's so good to see everybody. We should be outside. It's a beautiful night tonight, but we'll bear with us for a few minutes here indoors. I think I've met almost everybody, but for who I haven't, my name is Chris Shea, and I'm your candidate for the 5th District here in Connecticut. I'm a decorated decorated Navy SEAL. I'm a fire lieutenant. I'm a veteran nonprofit founder. And with your help, I'm going to be your next congressman right here in the 5th District. I've raised my family, my daughter here in the district, grew up in Watertown. The only times I've left the district was to serve the country and go away, either in harm's way or to do things other places that the military had me go. People, ask, why are you doing this? Some close calls in the military, and I could get, a lot of people have heard my story about that before, but it got me thinking and praying on that. And the big guy said, you've got other stuff to do, and got the word that I gave you broad shoulders for a reason, right? And being somebody who grew up here, has owned properties, has had a business, has made payroll in the district, right? All those things, been a paramedic in the districts, been in and out of people's homes, handyman business in and out of people's homes all over the district, right? I don't get it. I don't get John Hayes. I don't get the far left. I don't even know. I can't believe that the 5th District, being the most right of our districts, is represented by the gal who's the most left. And for those of you who don't know this fun fact, she actually ranks to the left of AOC in her voting record. Does everybody know that here? AOC ranks 415 out of 435. She comes in at 418. And that's what we have representing all of you down in DC. I can't stand by and watch that happen. I can't see the future of my daughter, and if I'm blessed to have grandchildren or godchildren, any of those being relegated to that kind of legislation down in DC, keeping their path marching towards the left. It makes no sense to me. I don't even know how we are where we are. I get to know the district and things, but listen, I don't think any of you guys disagree. Like boys, 16-year-old boys, when my daughter was 16-year-old, should not have been playing her in a contact sport. Ridiculous. Shouldn't have been sharing the bathroom with her or the locker room. Nonsense, right? Open borders. What are we talking about? And I've seen that problem from both sides of the border. Spent some time down in Mexico City, working at the embassy and training the guys to keep the drugs and the bad guys on that side of the border and locked up. John Hayes thought we should have open borders. She thinks we should have sanctuary policies here in Connecticut. Supportive of that. She's a supporter of things being the teacher of the year. And I know some other teachers that think that's what they think about that, but intruding into the rights of parents here in the state of Connecticut and overreach by the government in areas like that, in areas like the vaccine mandates. I was a guy, believe it or not, one of the few guys in the Pentagon that did not get the shot. And I stood on that, I died on that hill, almost died on that hill, because as a reservist, you go on active duty orders, just for you guys' edification. You go on orders for like 3 years, like the day your order's up, you go back to being a weekend warrior, your full month's paycheck goes to the equivalent of 2 days a month, right? So you can't really hang out in DC on it 2 days of military pay. But I had gotten COVID early on, recovered in like a day and a half, had some body aches, and like 6 months later, being a medic myself and knowing better, like, hey, you gotta get a vaccine for that. What are you guys talking about? I already got the disease and got better. Like I am the vaccine. What are you guys talking about? Oh, you gotta get it. So I'm like, well, the heck I am getting it. We're not doing it. I went down to the last minute. I didn't find out that I got approved for a waiver and continue my second set of orders until the 17th of December. My orders were up January 5th of the next year. And so if you ask people, you know, what would you do? How much would you stand up for the things you believe in? That's how I will stand up on behalf of you guys when I'm down in DC advocating on your behalf. You know, listen, Johanna voted for all sorts of silly things to include against the tax cuts you guys all get this year. She didn't think you needed, if anybody works here for overtime, and all my firefighter buddies do, they depend heavily on it. They're gonna get 5-6 grand back in the taxes this year. Anybody else who works for their tips, social security recipients, what you deserve to get, she thinks you should be taxed on it again. I think it's baloney. And for crying out loud, everybody here who owns property in the state of Connecticut, you know, she didn't think you needed the extra 30% off on our state and local taxes. And being a state, like Fred was talking about, winning in certain areas, we like to win in these areas of overtaxing our folks and overburdening our folks with regulations. I'm not for it. So pick a policy she's for. I'm probably somewhere 180 degrees out from that. And last thing I'll say is, we have put together a professional organization to take it to her in the fall so that we have the money, we have the people, we have the organization to get out there, beat the streets, beat the media, text messaging, anything we can do, mail programs, all that stuff costs money and has to have a team that's organized and gets that stuff done and does it in a professional manner. Because you guys all deserve that, and you guys all deserve somebody who thinks that highly of you to put together an organization like that. With that, I say thank you very much. God bless you guys. God bless these great United States. And I'll take any questions you have.
Chris, I'm gonna just hold the questions. I'm gonna let Jonathan go,
All right.
and then that way we can kind of cover both of you with
Gotcha.
the same questions.
Roger that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me to speak here today in front of all of you. My name is Jonathan DeBarros. Born and raised in the city of Waterbury, Connecticut. One of the main reasons why I decided to run for office is because before President Trump won in 2024, me and my wife, we were afraid that Kamala Harris was going to win the election, and we knew what would have happened here in the state of Connecticut. We currently have over 200,000 illegals residing in our state. When I saw the borders wide open and our country being flooded with these illegals, I seen an uptick of fentanyl overdose in the city of Waterbury and elsewhere, and I lost 2 cousins to the crisis between 2020 and 2024. Johanna Hayes, she refused to vote for HR 2, House Resolution 2, which would have secured our southern border, and that would have reduced dramatically the overdose rate in our country. We lost almost 500,000 people during that time period. And if anybody that's familiar with the British, Chinese, China opioid wars, the British government got the Chinese hooked on heroin. And now they're doing the same thing to us. It's warfare. And Johanna Hayes, she knows this extremely well because her mother is addicted to drugs. And she grew up in the same environment that I grew up in, and she knows firsthand how important it is to keep our borders secure. And she was playing partisan politics instead of voting for the interests of the American people. Me and my wife, we flew to Texas when we thought Kamala Harris was going to win this race because we were going to sell our house and move to a more conservative state. But what I found in Texas, they had a lot of people from California. The realtors were asking us, why are you moving here? When we told them, because we got communism in our state, they were so excited that we were conservative that they were begging us to move to Texas because Texas is purple and it's turning blue. So when President Trump won the election, because we had prayer chains for him in our family, I took that as a sign from God that we got a fighting chance here in Connecticut. And I received, you know, a sign from God from numerous co-workers of mine that told me, John, you should run for office. Like, cause I love politics. I know the district extremely well. And I just decided that now is the time to fight back because I know Johanna Hayes. I know how to fight it. I was once on the left. I know how they think. I know how they organize. And I know how to organize us to be able to fight against them in the streets. That's why I filed back in March of 2025. I was the first one to file. The reason why I started to file, it wasn't to raise money. It was to deal with the indoctrination of 60 years of brainwashing in the urban communities. I needed a head start to stay ahead of the Democrats because they don't have a campaign season. They campaign continuously, constantly, over and over again during church services, funeral services. They don't stop. You are the enemy. You are racist. You are the fascists. Everything that they are, that's what they're telling those people in those communities that we are. And you need someone like me that could resonate with them and that could articulate themselves in a way that they understand what our values are. That's how we're going to win in November. I told you, I'm all about law enforcement. I want to protect law enforcement. My brother-in-law is a Waterbury police officer. I had two police officers from Wookett that were delegates. They did not change their role. They supported me in the convention. One of them is Eric Sousa. He's a retired Norfolk police officer. He currently trains Homeland Security. His wife, Wendy Sousa, she was a detective in the city of Waterbury, Connecticut. Some of you know my backstory. And if you don't, I'm pretty sure you will find out. I don't have a criminal record. Eric Sousa's wife was a detective in the Waterbury PD. She has my yard sign in her yard right now. Proudly, she stands by me and she supports me as a candidate to run for office because she knows I can get the job done. This is very important because we can have the best policies in the world, but if you can't win, you're not going to be able to execute anything. So my goal is to unify the party. I bumped heads with party members and party leadership in the beginning because I felt as though that when I went to them one way, they were very dismissive. They didn't take me serious. So I knew I couldn't afford to wait 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now. We don't have that time frame. If we don't win and take this seat now, with President Trump in the White House, we're never going to take it. Now's the time to take the 5th district. If we don't take it, they might change. They might add West Hartford to our district. Then what? Then we'll really be screwed because West Hartford is going to be hard for me to get. So I'm telling you, right now is the time to take this seat. If we don't take this seat now, we're never going to win in 2028. That's a presidential cycle. We're going to have a hard time this midterm because Josh Elliott is going to win his primary against Netherland Mountain. And he got me and Downey's team that's coming from New York. And they're going to energize that base of young radical leftists. They're going to go to the polls. If we don't energize our base, if we don't turn out to vote, we're screwed. I was back. I'm endorsed by the national organization, Veterans for Trump, Veterans for America First. They gave me their national endorsement. Dick Morris gave me his endorsement. He was the political strategist for both Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. I have his endorsement. They believe in me and they trust me because they know I can get the job done. I'm asking you to support me. If you support me, I promise you, we will have a victory in November. Thank you.
We'll do some questions. Anybody wants to start?
Oh, yeah. Chris, I got a couple questions for you. Yep, me again.
You wore out your question meter.
So-
Last time. You got one more day.
So,
We're gonna do one, person, and then we'll see if we have time for more.
okay. So last week you spoke in front of a bunch of elderly people in Heritage Village, and you said that you would not debate Jonathan DeBarros because you didn't want it to turn into a Jerry Springer show.
That's correct.
So,
I said exactly that.
so why do you think it would turn into a Jerry Springer show?
You're part of the cohort online that's putting up ridiculous memes, attacking my wife, attacking my family, putting up false things, by the way, verifiably false, all along the way. I've done none of that all along, right? I've done none of that along. I offered you a olive branch right off the bat. You know that. So you can shake your head no.
I can answer the question if you want.
So
you asking me a question?
No, I'm just saying, I'm just telling you that you know that I offered you an olive branch.
That wasn't no olive branch.
I'm not
The
gonna,
questions posted, Jonathan.
I'm not gonna let this turn into a back and forth. We're here to talk about
I think we
policy.
should
Right,
leave the questions to
policy,
town
so
committee members, not.
Yeah,
friends.
yeah, I would,
He comes to every single, every
I
single
know,
thing stirs
I
the
know
pot,
who he
so-
is, so
I don't think I stirred the pot.
Yeah, you-
Okay, I mean, let's.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
We're
would-
here with the RTC. We have invited guests from Republicans.
I don't wanna waste their time. I wanna hear about it.
So you didn't answer the question now.
Give it, I'd rather give them policy, because I have a statement about that. You heard exactly what I said. You're going to the video from Heritage Village. I said exactly what I mean.
I know, but I'm asking you why you think it would turn into a Jerry Springer show.
and I'm gonna end this, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm not, again, I'm not,
Okay.
you're not gonna get, I'm not looking for you to get something that you can post online.
That's
I wanna
fine.
have our members ask about policy questions to see where everybody stands. I appreciate what you're trying to do, but I gotta get some control of this.
Okay.
I don't want back and forth.
Yeah, no problem.
I'll start it off. Because I have a question. Can both of you tell me what your first two pieces of legislation you would support, or your priorities, top two priorities would be once you get elected? Jonathan, I'll let you start.
Well, one of the main things that I'm focused on is that we have too many people who are on government subsidized programs, federal subsidies, Section 8 housing, SNAP benefits. For far too long, people get on the system, they have no way out, no exit strategy. They can stay on there as long as they want. I want to create a federal funded job training program in which they have an aptitude test. And I'm not talking about seniors. I'm not talking about, I'm talking about able-bodied adults. I'm not talking about seniors, people that are disabled. I'm talking about able-bodied adults that are taking advantage of the system. I want to provide them with an opportunity. It's going to be mandatory. Because if you're on unemployment, you got to look for a job 3 days a week. But people on government subsidized programs, they just sit on the system for 30 years. And that's a tax burden on all the rest of us. So I want to create a system in which people take an aptitude test based upon the test results. The algorithm will guide them to different career goal opportunities. We pair them with a mentor from the industry that they select, and we set them up for success so that they could get off the system and they could start paying into the system. And that will secure our Social Security and also reduce the tax burden on everybody else. That's one of my main goals. And another thing is I want to enforce federal law. And the laws are there, they're just not being enforced. We got, like I said, we got 200,000 illegals currently residing in our state. The city of Danbury was one of the first sanctuary cities in the Northeast. I walked through Danbury, I went to the street festival. I see all these Americans sleeping on the streets with illegal migrants. They were given our tax dollars to get ahead of all of us. They created their own businesses. They had a grant program through Yukon College for undocumented entrepreneurs. That's illegal. So they could compete against American citizens. They used our funds, our money against all of us. And that's something that I want to change. I want to enforce federal law, and I want to help our federal law enforcement officers to locate these illegals and remove them from our state, at least from our history. So, I think.
Chris, top two?
Hey, so a couple things. First of all, I'm gonna go down there to uphold the Constitution of the United States like I've done for the past 35 years, right? And I'm gonna go down there to be a legislator and help write laws so that the judicial branch can enforce those laws. I'm not gonna go there and try to enforce the law being a legislator. That's not what we do. Secondly, I'm obviously very interested in Veterans Affairs. I mean, the Save Our Veterans Act, the new act that includes the Richard Starr Act. I'm very interested in that. I mean, actually, we have a system in the country right now where you can get medically retired, like a leg blown off at like 18 years, and then not get your full pension. You get a disability pension, and based on the disability payments, it's kind of goofed up without getting into all the details. Very interested in that kind of stuff. And there's a little bit of a fight between the VFW and the American Legion. I need to learn more about who wants what, but those are things that really interest me. I also learned this yesterday when we were at the American Legion yesterday, hanging out with folks, and one of the gals there was actually from the VA in West Haven. And I deal with this on the ambulance all the time. Guys and gals that are retired were asked to go to the VA hospital, and a place like Yale and other hospitals. No, we don't have beds, we don't have room. This is the acuity is too high for us, so they send them straight to the hospital. I didn't know this, and I need to do more research about this as well. But If they go to the VA and then the VA sends them to Yale, the VA pays for them. If they send them straight to the hospital, they move gas. So that seems to be a big problem. I've been on the other end where our medics, in conjunction with dispatch, have talked them out of going to those, to the VA and talking going straight into Yale. So I think it's got to do with disability ratings and things like that, but those are the kind of things that are nuanced things in the system that need to be looked after, and looking forward to doing that.
Question?
For both kids.
I appreciate you all coming out today. Thanks so much for having us. Thanks for making the trip. It's so good to see so much Republican support for the candidates in this room. We're going to need all the support we can get come this fall. For those of you I haven't met, my name is Chris Shea, also born and raised right here in the 5th District, born in Waterbury, raised in Watertown my whole life. I am a retired Navy SEAL. I am a firefighter, and I'm a veteran nonprofit founder. And with your help, I'm going to be your next congressman right here in the 5th District. You know, a lot of things get said, a lot of talking points get thrown out there, and those are easy to do. But at the end of the day, this election is going to come down to one word. It's going to come down to the word trust. Who are you going to trust to go down to D.C. and advocate on your behalf? Politicians are going to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, make some memes, they're going to make jokes, they're going to do all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's going to come down to that word. And you guys, I contend, whether you realize it or not, you've already trusted me time and time again. And let me explain. As a Navy SEAL, you've trusted me to go downrange, make life and death decisions in the face of our enemies, and battle on your behalf. So you can know that I'm going to go down to D.C. and continue fighting for American families right here at home. You actually sent me down to the Pentagon for 5 years, trusting me with our nation's secrets, and also a buttload of your hard-earned dollars, billions of dollars. You guys trust me with your money to make sure that our folks have the things they need to keep us safe and to pull off the kind of missions like bringing Maduro, get Maduro and bringing our boy back home on Easter morning. Very proud of our guys and gals that made that happen, and proud to have been a small part of that organization over the years. As a firefighter and a paramedic, you've already trusted me, whether you know or not, with your lives and the lives of your loved ones. From downtown Waterbury running calls to Danbury, Meriden, New Britain, when I was on camping ambulance, to nowadays in North Haven, Connecticut. It's actually been an honor and a privilege in my life to have had that trust. And so you can know, I will be fighting as one myself. I will continue fighting for our veterans and our first responders while they're busy out there fighting for you. Fighting for you guys. With Hero to Hero, we started. My wife actually does all the hard work, but we started an organization called Hero to Hero that actually helps our veterans transition from the military into first responder roles. We just graduated 4 guys from the Connecticut Fire Academy last month, and about 130 around the country. And I can't really take the credit anymore for it. She does all the hard work, but it is something I started, and I'm pretty proud of that. And so I guess you can know how I feel about our brave law enforcement, because there isn't a difference between local police and federal law enforcement. And I think it's a shame that our leaders in this state have decided to make that a thing. And thank God we have a guy coming in who's going to know better to not try and separate those two factions, because it's bad enough that they are out there taking all sorts of grief on our behalf. I see it all the time. As a fireman, I'm arm in arm with these guys oftentimes, and I see the kind of guff they take on the streets and what they've got to deal with. So, and I've been there. I have been with them. I'm the guy who does revive them from fentanyl overdoses, me and my guys, and know that cost all too close and personal. You know, at the end of the day, you guys have already trusted me with your money, your livelihoods, and our freedoms here at home. Oh my goodness, I should never do this. I did this once before with the woman. I was like the last guy going. I worked along the firehouse. We were all busy. Then my brain falls out of my head, so forgive me. But listen, I say you've already trusted me time and time again for the past 35 years. I'm asking you to trust me again, to bring grit, determination, and common sense to DC. I already solved a lot of problems in the Pentagon, and I know how to get them done on Capitol Hill because that's the office I'm actually running for. I know how to find people to get the deals done that will affect the citizens here in the 5th District, and you can count on me to do that when we're down there. I get asked a couple things oftentimes on the campaign trail, like how are you gonna win this thing? How are you gonna get it done? How are you doing raising money? And because for whatever it's worth, apparently money's an awfully big deal in campaigns. And you guys may have seen me outraise Johanna last quarter, I wouldn't say semester like at school, last quarter, and then we're keeping our pedal to the metal, continuing to outraise her so that we can have the war chest that's going to be necessary to beat her come November. The other thing about the district, there's a couple things to consider. We have about 30,000 veterans in this district, and we have about 8,000 first responders. So I argue that and they all have friends, families, and a network that lives not just in the outskirts, but they live in places like Danbury, Meriden, New Britain, Waterbury, Torrington, right? And if we can't, as a Republican Party, get behind the retired Navy SEAL, current fire lieutenant, and a guy who started an organization that helps veterans transition from the military into first responder roles, will actually put his money where his mouth is. And God, I wish I got some of the money back from that, from what we do there, but then I don't know what we do as a party if we can't get that cohort behind us. The other thing I guess is unavoidable is the demographics of the district, right? This district is 21% Hispanic, and Waterbury is the predominant demographic. We are going to have to get out there and talk to them. I always say, and don't say Seattle Espanol, actually, the military sent me down to Mexico and worked at the embassy and with the gentleman who got chapel, and I learned pretty decent Spanish. So we're going to lean into that and use that to talk to folks in their own language if and when it makes sense and is necessary to get out and talk about what they're looking for. So at the end of the day, I'm asking you to send me down to DC to fight for you guys, bring common sense and common sense back to DC, because God knows we don't have it. We've got a lady that's representing us that is, I don't know if you guys know this, she actually ranks to the left in her voting of Johanna Hayes. Johanna Hayes ranks to the left of AOC. And being someone who's lived here my whole life, do you think that's representative of this district? Somebody who only has a few Congress people to the left of the Congress? I don't think it's the right voting record for us to stand down. So I will go down there and change that. And I thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for considering something getting the bathroom.
Thank you for allowing me to come here today to speak. My name is Jonathan DeBarros. I was born and raised in the city of Waterbury, Connecticut, same city as John Hayes, the Democrat incumbent. I know her extremely well. Our families know each other. This is not a personal attack against her. It's really me going after a position that I think I can do a better job at. Far too long, our cities have been neglected by both Democrats and Republicans. And I think it's time that we come together and we start talking about common sense policies. One of the policies that I want to implement is we got too many people on government subsidized programs, Section 8 housing, SNAP benefits, with no way out. They're trapped on the system. We're not providing them with an opportunity to get themselves out of those conditions. I'm from that community. I know what's happening. I want to create a mandatory federal funded job training program. Not for our seniors, not for people that are able, but able-bodied people who are not getting back into the workforce. I want to create a system in which we have an aptitude test based upon the test results. The algorithm will guide you to different career goal opportunities. We put federal funding behind that, but we also pair you with a mentor that's in that industry. This should get bipartisan support because it's common sense legislation. Because if we get more Americans back to work, it's going to reduce the tax burden on everybody else, and that's something that we all should appreciate. Another thing is I want to enforce federal law in the 5th District. My grandfather came to America in 1916. He came from the Cape Verde Island, which was a Portuguese colony in the west coast of Africa. He came here to work the factories, came here the right way through the port of entry. I'm all for legal migration, but illegal migration, we have over 200,000 illegals currently residing in our state. We spent about $1.8 billion in Connecticut alone that we know of and counting. Unfortunately, most of these illegals were dumped into the Black and Hispanic communities. When Governor Abbott of Texas and Ron DeSantis of Florida got tired of our border being open and underneath the Biden administration, they had to do something to protect their citizens. So what they did was they took the illegals, because that's what the Democrats wanted, and we gave them to them. We gave them to Marcus Vineyard. And what happened? The same week, they took them and bust them out. And where did they bring them? They put them in the Black and the Hispanic community. I lost 2 cousins between 2020 and 2024 with fentanyl poisoning, right? Because what China did was they took advantage of the caravans being allowed to come to our southern border, and they flooded the caravans with boatloads full of fentanyl that killed people from all walks of life. They didn't care if you was Democrat, Republican. They came to kill us. Now, if you study the opioid wars between Britain and China, Britain, they did that to China first. They got the Chinese hooked on dope, and then now they're doing it to us, and they're killing our kids. They don't care if you're Black, you're white, you're Republican, you're Democrat. Back in 2023, Johanna Hayes had the opportunity to vote with the Republicans on HR 2, House Resolution 2, which would have secured our southern border. She played partisan politics at the expense of American lives. If she would have secured our southern border and did the right thing, there's no telling how many lives we would have saved. When President Trump locked down the border 2025, in Connecticut alone, the fentanyl overdose, the deaths in Connecticut dropped by 38%. So we know that there was a correlation between the borders being open and the uptick in fentanyl overdoses in the state of Connecticut. I want to enforce federal law. I want our local law enforcement officers and our state police to cooperate with our federal law enforcement officers. The media is manipulating us on both sides, on the right and on the left. Common sense should tell you that we need strong borders. Right? When Obama was president, he deported more people than Donald Trump. But the reason why it looks so chaotic now is because this is the first time in my lifetime that I know of that our federal law enforcement are not allowed, or the state law enforcement are not allowed to cooperate with our federal law enforcement. The reason why it looked more civil underneath Obama is because, can you imagine a federal agent flying into Connecticut from Utah, never been here before in his life, and he's sitting here to do a job, and he's getting bad intel because our local police officers cannot cooperate with them to let them know that this person is a U.S. citizen. So it's going to look chaotic. And then you also got the protesters that are being paid by who, God knows who. Christopher Murphy, we know he raised millions of dollars because he has an anti-Trump pact. Now, President Trump, you might not like him. I love him. I love President Trump because I understand exactly what he's doing. I mean, you might not like his personality. I got aunts and uncles that may say the wrong thing at the wrong time. That's just his personality. He always had the same personality his whole time before he even got in politics. In 2016, President Trump got 6% of the Black vote. 2020, it increased to 8%, and then it doubled in 2024. Why? Because he engaged in our communities. He went into Detroit. He went into the Bronx. We didn't care about the Black Lives Matter scam because we understood the con. We've been through the 1994 crime bill, and we know when you got caught with 3 grams of crack cocaine, they put on the news we had a drug factory, and they gave us a life sentence for small amounts of drugs. So we understand when President Trump said it's fake news. It is fake news. But there's fake news on the left, there's fake news on the right. They want to manipulate us all so that we can get it, go at each other's throats, and we can't get things done because they're targeting everybody. They want to destroy our country. They want to destroy our constitutional republic because they got a Marxist agenda to destroy America. And they're programming your kids in the public school system. Now they're going after the homeschool. If you want someone that's going to enforce federal law and get the job done, I'm your guy. I know how to get, I'm in Johanna Hayes' head right now. She's thinking about me. She's scared to death. She never had real opposition. George Logan was a nice guy, great guy. I met him and we spoke. But that was the problem. He was too nice. They don't have no respect for any of us. They killed Charlie Kirk and made a mockery of him. They thought it was a joke, a game. Now it's payback time. I'm the guy to get the job. I'm the guy to get the job done. I've been to Danbury for the street festival. I chased Julie Kushner around, told her she was a racist because she don't got no illegals living in her backyard. They're in my backyard. So support me. I'm gonna get the job done. We're gonna flip this district, and I'm gonna listen to everybody here. I'm taking your advice. You know, I don't say things the right way all the time. You might not like my post. You might not understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, but I gotta fight. I gotta fight for the future of our country. Because if I wasn't a fighter, you guys would have pushed me off the ballot a long time ago. But because I'm fighting, I'm here before you right now. So hopefully you guys will back me so we can get this job done and finally win a federal election this year in November. Johanna Hayes, she is terrified. Trust me when I'm telling you. But my sister told me she registered as a Republican to vote in the primary, and I didn't even ask her to. And she never voted Republican in her life. And there's numerous people that I've been registering this whole time. I started over a year ago because I wanted to give myself a head start in the city. And like I said, I talk to Democrats, independents, and unaffiliated voters because my policies are going to benefit everybody. I don't care what party you are. We're all Americans, and we got to start thinking of each other as such. We got to start conversating again because listen, I'm ready for Johanna Hayes. My wife is Hispanic. She's Puerto Rican from Border. I've been debating her for 11 years. So I'm ready for Johanna Hayes. So thank you for your time, and hopefully I get your support.
Okay, guys, so hopefully this has given you a little bit more input on what we're up against here. Those were two speeches that the candidate has given us at some point. I don't remember which meeting that was. I did not record them. Luckily, someone else got them up and made them into two short videos. And I know this is almost going 3 hours. I don't know how this is going almost 3 hours, but it's going almost 3 hours. But I'm not done yet. I'm not done yet. I have a couple other things that I want to show you guys. This is from the convention, and this is really not so good for one of the candidates, to be honest with you, but I believe it needs to be shown. Let's see. This is something that I have recorded, and I just want you to be aware that in my camera there are people from Chris Shea campaign. And I want you to listen what has happened here.
Switches are now closed, so the tellers will tabulate quickly for us. And I will provide our official total.
I'm trying to move my camera. So I don't have any people, and I see the guy.
Where is Reverend Brown? If you want to come up, great church.
In which I don't even know who is going to basically cover my camera. I don't know these people. I have not heard about these people. I don't know who they are. I was just trying to find to record this. Excuse me. me. Guys. Can you move a little bit this way? What? Excuse me. Can you move a little bit this way because I have the camera going? Like, no. Yo. I'm pregnant. I'm not really. Then sit down. Never heard the boys sit down. Jesus Christ, we're here for the same reason. So basically what happened here in this video, Chris Shea's campaign just kind of decided to literally walk in my camera and cover it up so I can't record. And when I asked him to move, the lady in a blue, which we're going to see in a second as well, just decided to tell me no, she's not going to move. She doesn't care, and she's pregnant. So I was like, well, if you're pregnant, why don't you sit down, is what I said. And I was like, what is your problem? We are here for the same reason. And they were just obnoxious. And I didn't even know who they were, to be perfectly honest with you, because I am here to document things and I don't really care who you are. You're not better than me, or anyone is not better than you. If you did not like me because I supported Jonathan, I mean, that's on you. And we can clearly see that there's a problem with this campaign. And there has been a problem since the get-go. And it does not seem like they played a fair game. But that's okay. You covered my camera, and I'll be it. You're pregnant. Congratulations. Congratulations to the man that was with you and has to have to deal with your attitude. So now I want to show you something else that has happened at that convention, and that was also someone that was on that note in Chris Shea campaign, and that was his wife. His wife was just decided to run towards Jonathan, and I tried to clean up the video. I can't really tell what she was saying, but there she is. You can see her, and then you can see the lady in a blue who was covering my camera coming up to Jonathan as well and saying something. If you can understand what she says, let me know. I can't. I don't think my English is that well. But this was a whole controversy, to be honest, that has kind of put a little bit of shame, or put a little bit of a bad light, I would say, maybe on Chris's campaign. I mean, was that really needed? I mean, I also heard that she was trying to convince some delegates not to vote for Jonathan because by her book, he is a murderer. Well, we cannot say that. We cannot portray that. We cannot really be the ones that say that, because Jonathan has a clean record and you cannot use this against him. And no matter who you're trying to convince, he's clean. He is just clean as a whistle. He's got no record. He has no criminal history. So, I mean, that was a bad move. That was a pretty bad move, and I didn't like that. Unfortunately, you did not know my camera was rolling. And then, so don't ever underestimate the power of social media and the power of live streaming. I just literally needed to go grab a little bit of a bite to eat or something, and I just left this camera there. And I got a phone call, and it was like, hey, there was something happening here. We need you. And this is how I found out this has happened. I just don't think that this family is really genuine. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just my vibe. I don't know. I'm trying to really listen to this guy. I'm trying to listen to what he wants to do with Connecticut and what his priorities are. I'm having a really hard time figuring out what his priorities are, except fighting for veterans and this foundation that he has. I mean, I'm going to show you also a speech from the convention, and it's all about his career. I mean, yes, we get it. You were a Navy SEAL. We get it. You killed people. We get it. Okay? You've been on state insurance. We get it. Okay? Federal insurance. Whatever the fuck insurance that you have. Your whole entire family was on this insurance. I mean, your whole entire life was based on this. Yes, we get it. But what do you have for us in District 5? What do you have for people like me? What are you doing? What kind of legislation are you trying to propose to change our lives? Like, give me something. This guy's not giving me anything. I can't even, I don't know. Like, I just need a person that's got a backbone. I need a person that cannot be manipulated. I need a person that knows what they're doing, meaning I don't need you to have a tons of experience. I just need you to have a fight in you. I need the fight. I need to see it. I need to see it. All right, let's just try to share this real quick. I'm gonna play this again because I can't really tell what she said. This is yeah, I know that we cannot hear anything because this video has been weed out, and I mean, I can show you the one that is original, but it just doesn't really, we can't really hear, to be honest with you. I don't know. Unfortunately, there was a lot of noise, but you can clearly see that she came up to him, and by the body posture, you can tell that this was not really a good type of conversation. I have a couple other I have the original video if you guys want to hear it. I do not know what she said. I can't ever. And I can not put the subtitles on it either because let me see if I can share this with you. What is going on here? Like he did not he did not expect this. Like we don't know what she said. I don't know what she said. Does anyone know what she said? I cannot understand. My English is not. I just can't. But things like this are happening, unfortunately. And so now I have let's see, 232. All right, so we now have this guy speaking, and I'm gonna just bring you back what his wife also said. So listen to what he has to say at the convention. Hopefully this is gonna be understandable what he says.
One thing I want to tell you, I know you guys been here way too long, so I cut this really, really short. Because I know you want to get out here now and drinking, gambling, and having fun out there. So I won't hold you up. But you know, people ask me, hey, why do you want to do this? Why do you want to run for Congress, right? And it occurred to me that you know, I could be either Clint Eastwood sitting on my front lawn saying, "Get off my lawn," pissing and moaning about how the system sucks 20 years from now, or I can take my background and experience and things that are relevant to the people of the district in DC and put them to use and do something about the future of my daughter and I'm so blessed to have a grandson, right? So, one thing I'll share, I told everybody that I'm a Christian. Thank you, Jesus, for having me here. And one big story I was going to tell you guys that hit me like, and my wife asked me this, but we did this thing called the Magic Prayer, humor me for a minute, where I wasn't on mushrooms, I wasn't smoking anything funny, but I actually had an experience with Jesus Christ himself sitting next to me in the chair. If you want to tell you the whole story, one of the things that came to me, and I didn't know why, since Extortion 17 happened back in 2011 in Afghanistan, and 41 of our soldiers and sailors died on that helicopter, right? And had the timeline switched, I was supposed to be on that helicopter, right? And I've often wondered, like, hey, I guess I've got something to do, right? I've got something to do, I've got something to do in the world that I've not done, right? Retired from the military, have a great job, driving the front seat of a fire engine or one engine house, the best job in the world. But you know, I figured why not? Let's go do something as well. But the thing that came to me when I was thinking about this stuff is from the Lord himself, is like, hey, I gave you broad shoulders for a reason. Right? I didn't even know what it meant at the time. I thought, wow, that's some heavy stuff. And I guess this is it. We clearly know on behalf of all you guys, we're going to take the fight down in DC, we're going to get this done. And since we're in the, we've got a fight ahead of us, right? Johanna Hayes has got her money, she's got her the big Democrat machine behind us. We're ready to rock and roll. We've got a lot of good doors, so we're going to get after it. But one of the things, are you guys ready to fight? Are you guys ready to fight? Ready to win this fight? Finally, are we ready to win this fight? So listen, my wife's going to be so embarrassed, but I've been dying to do this. Live. No, your son, in Uncasville, Connecticut. Let's get ready to rumble!
Okay, so let's go back to our speeches before they elected and what his wife actually said, that she does not want him to run But then she tried to talk to all the delegates and try to portray him as a murderer. Jonathan, meaning.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? My name is Anita Shea. I'm Chris Shea's wife. I've been his wife for the past 16 years, supporting him in his career as a Navy SEAL and a fire lieutenant in North Haven, Connecticut. We were born and raised in the 5th District. We went to Holy Cross High School together. We found each other at our 20-year high school reunion, and the rest is history. My daughter Sophia could not be here today because she had bigger wisdom teeth out a month and a half before her wedding. Anyway, I just want to say my husband is a man of integrity. I did not want to run this race. I did not want some mudslinging, and I did not want the drama. I went back, I prayed on it for about 2 weeks, and all I kept getting was trust in me. I have a plan for you. I have great plans for you. And then I looked at Chris and remember, he's a fixer.
District 5 candidates that they are endorsing. And that's my district. That's the guy's wife. This is not who I want to support.
He is not a politician. He decided to run and wanted to do this. And again, I said no, and then I turned around and I said, okay, we can do it. But we had to have our house done first. We just bought. Anyway, that's why we took clear late. I am telling you, my husband, if you want somebody who is a man full of integrity and determination, who wants to make change in DC and support our families, our borders, our parental rights, please vote for my husband, Christopher Shea.
She said she wanted to have her first stop first. What's that mean?
Next for the nomination for candidate John Busharelli, Southbury, the chair recognizes the good chairman of the Southbury RTC, Gary Garofalo. Gary, you here?
So this is another candidate.
Not the choice.
We will get a predictable.
That was me. This is John's wife. I just wanted to tell you guys, I hate how they're actually organized this and they put two different things going on at once. And then you cannot absolutely hear anybody speaking because the other people that were doing the other districts were having their audio extra loud. And so this district, that was one of the most important districts because of the candidates that we have not really gotten enough attention. And I really hate how this was organized. I get that we're in Mohegan Sun. I don't know why would we be in Mohegan Sun and organize this way, but the districts really did not get enough attention, and I was not able to stream all the districts because they were going on at the same time. Why? I do not know. And why would they going on at in the same room with the audio going for both of them? It's absolutely crazy and insane to me. But anyway, this is John's wife. The one before that was Christopher Shea's wife, who said that she wants to have her house done first, which I don't understand what that means, but I just went around and looked for his address, and it seems like they bought a house in 2020. And then also, she attacked Jonathan verbally, and then she said, I don't want any drama. Well, yeah, hey, you actually created one. But here's John's wife, speaking. So let's listen to this.
I know. Before, so I'm going to try to be a little bit short. I didn't know I only had a minute, so I had to change my speech a little bit. So America, the people in the district are still not willing to talk to you, even though this is politically correct. And so the fact I know what you know, who never thought you would be right now as an elder. So I second my husband, Jonathan DeBarros, because for far too long, conservative voters in Connecticut have been ignored, dismissed, and taken for granted. Our voices sidelined, our values pushed aside, and every cycle we're told to fall in line and trust the process. We look where that's gotten us. Tonight, this room decides whether we repeat the same losing pattern or whether we finally change it. Let's be honest, this isn't about Democrats, it's about whether we as a party are willing to make the tough choice to actually win. And that decision should be based on two things: who can win and who will fight. Jonathan DeBarros is that candidate. He's not the choice of the insiders, clearly. He's not here because he was asked. He's not here to backroom deals. He's here because he earned it by showing up, putting in the work, listening to the voters, and building real support across the district and beyond. And that support that matters. He has earned the trust of veterans who serve this country. One is in the back right now. Also endorsed by Veterans for America First, law enforcement like my brother-in-law, who put their lives on the line. Doctors, nurses like myself, teachers like my sister, blue-collar workers who keep our communities running every single day. It's not about political support, that's real world credibility. While others speak in talking points, Jonathan connects with the people, urban and suburban, working families, business owners, and he understands this district because he studied it and has been in it listening. He's not afraid to say what needs to be said about failed Democrat policies and about where we as Republicans have lost the field. That's not nothing, that's leadership. And here's the reality: every delegate in this room already knows. If we nominate another safe, predictable candidate, we will get a predictable result in November. So let's stop the political games and let's flip this district.
Okay. So, this is it. That's all I have. And I believe you guys can go and check it out. Everyone's Facebook pages, campaign pages, and I believe you can also donate to them if you like to. I would love to see you guys to go to the polls and not struggle with that responsibility that you have as a Republican, because if you are registered as a Republican, and we do have a lot of Republicans that are registered, this is your responsibility, and I hope that you are going to show up and that you are going to choose the right candidate, the one that is about all your values, the one that you think that is going to protect you, the one that is going to change something for you as you think. And so I know who I'm voting for, and I think you also know who I'm voting for. My day is August 11th, which is the actual election day. And my pick is based on who I think has the guts, who I think has the backbone, who is the most real candidate here. And that's definitely not the establishment pick, because you know what I think about the establishment. We have a problem with Republican Party here. We have a huge problem with people that are representing us. And currently, I believe everyone who's in Congress right now, not everyone, but most of the senators are not representing conservative views very well. And for that reason, I want them to be voted out. And I am going to make sure that I vote the right way, and that the next available election, I will be advocating to pick people that are aligning with our values, with our views, with our problems, not with someone who takes pictures with William Tong, who is suing Trump how many times? 52 times, and every single one of these lawsuits, it's around $100,000. So this is your tax money, where Connecticut is a bankrupt, basically. This is your tax money that is actually going to those lawsuits. They don't want to hand the voting rolls. They don't want to basically give you any possibility to catch them on doing something wrong. What's the problem? You already admitted, Governor Lamont has already admitted that he's giving food stamps to temporary holders, temporary protective status holders, and that he wants to continue to give them the food stamps no matter what. So this is gonna go and be funded from your taxes. And so also the legal representation for people that were snatched, not arrested, snatched by ICE at Bradley Airport. He wants to provide them with the legal help, legal advice, lawyers, funded by your beloved taxpayers. So if you really want to change, you need to go and vote this primary and make sure you get out in November, because we need you. We need all the unaffiliated voters and all the Republican voters who are going to go out and show what they're capable of. Make sure that your rights are not being trampled, because they are. This is no longer a constitutional state. It is not. And thank you for being here with me. I know this is extremely long and kind of a little boring for a lot of people's stream, but I just felt the need really deep down in my gut. I really did feel the need to do this, and I just want to make sure that you understand who is on your side and who is going to really fight for you, for your rights. And it's not going to do this. Okay? Because you know what that symbol is. You know it. And if you don't know it, I advise you to search. It's not a good one. And it just seems like this guy just literally got into that. Because he's not natural at it. You can tell. So make sure you pick right. And make sure that Republicans get in this election. Because this state is really not that great for its own people. You really want to pay all these taxes? Well, I don't. I would much rather go on a vacation than pay for my car taxes. And I'm the only one who pays for them, and not the people that actually are using our highways. The highway in between Boston and New York, no one pays for it. Just Connecticut people. Yes, I get it. Oh my God, it's going to be so much more expensive, and the food is going to be more expensive, yada, yada, yada. Well, who knows? Why don't we have tolls? Just make sure you leave Connecticut people alone with these tolls. We have paid long enough for these roads on our own. Anyway, I'm a huge advocate for daycares being paid by government and your health insurance be fair to everybody and be the same for everybody. So you state workers that have the best insurance, I want that insurance too. What do I gotta do? I gotta run for office to get that insurance? What do I gotta do? I want the coverage. What do I gotta do? It's kind of sad that this country does not treat people fairly. It's all about where you are, with whom you are, what kind of connections you have. Are you on the state? Are you not? And with this, I'm going to leave you guys. Hopefully you have a great weekend. I am going to work tomorrow and Sunday and the whole another week. Having 2 jobs because you got to survive in this world. Connecticut is no longer an affordable state. Have a great night, everybody. Take care and make sure August 11, you show up. Show up to these polls and pick your candidate. I hope you pick the right one. Bye.